single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code The Game. I am live on remote today, but Willy D and D-Mase are back in our game studios. How we doing?
What up?
Are you broadcasting live from a wedding somewhere? Caroline, where are you?
No wedding this weekend. I'm in Atlanta this weekend, but there is no wedding, much to probably everyone's surprise.
Yes.
I had my last wedding of 2023 last weekend, so we have come to a close.
Okay, how many was the count for 2023?
Oh, wow. Over 10.
Double digits.
Is that a record? Oh, my goodness.
And I have at least 2 every month for the first 6 months of 2024. So we are not done yet.
So you might break 2023's record early in 2024.
Easily.
Well, listen, you're going to run out of – everybody's going to be married, so hopefully by 2025 you ain't got to do this no more.
But at the rate that some of my friends are having babies, then once my friends are done getting married, then the babies are going to get married. And it's it's going to be a constant cycle.
Well, you're going to have baby showers
end.
you got to attend and all that stuff.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, welcome to your mid to late 20s.
Boom.
Well, we
Enjoy.
are just it is a blast. I love it. As much as we joke about it, as much as I might complain about it, I absolutely love it, and it's a blast. But we are just a few days away from the Titans home opener taking on the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday at Nissan Stadium. And this feels like a big one, and not a big one in that this is a must-win game, not a big one in that you might win or lose the division or make or not make the playoffs. It just feels like holistically, for the confidence of the team, for the fan base, this is a big one on Sunday. A confidence reassuring game.
I think, is it a must win? No, I don't think it is with, 15 games after this one left. I don't think the second game of the season is a must win. But I do believe that, this team needs to get that bad taste out of their mouth. We talked ad nauseum this week about the missed opportunities that the Titans had, and the one thing that you want to do as a player, you want to get back on the field as fast as you possibly can to try to correct those mistakes and to sort of write a new narrative for the upcoming week and the upcoming game. So from that standpoint, this is a situation or opportunity. Like I said, I believe they're going to play better, but what does playing better equate to? I think they need to play better, in this game. Now, whether they win or not, I don't know. But if they come out of this game, and all of us can look and say, you know what? That offense looked much different than what it did in the first game. That secondary looked much different than what it did in the first game. I think it gives the fan optimism moving forward because the LA Chargers are, they're a high-scoring team. They're an explosive team. And, if the Titans can, get out of Nissan Stadium with a victory, or if they just play, different or better than what they played last week, I think the fan base will feel a little bit different, entering into their third game. I think is against Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. So they have to play a lot better to sort of change the feeling around town here.
And they're an underdog. They're an underdog at home. So they're not expected to win this game to some degree. It's a 3-point spread, so it's one of those games. There's 10 of them every week where it really feels like it could go either way. There's a couple of key guys injured for both teams. I would expect a completely different style from the Chargers as we saw from the Saints. So who knows what kind of game we're going to see, but I do think there's urgency there. I would not say must win.
I would agree. And I do feel like as a sports society, we throw around the term must win maybe a little bit too willy-nilly. We throw the term must win around in a game that if you lose that game, like you're going to be okay. A must win is you lose and you go home, you win and you advance. Like a playoff game, that is a must win game. I think that this is a must prove that we are making progress and we are a better team than we were last week game. I think that if it comes down to 33-30, Chargers win, it's a shootout, the offense looks better, the defense is able to stop at least a little bit what the Chargers want to do. It needs to be a game, in my opinion, where Ryan Tannehill is taking care of the football, where receivers are catching the balls, Tannehill is hitting receivers, you're able to run the ball efficiently. The offensive line at least does their job. The defensive line gets pressure on the quarterback, like things that we expect and things that we didn't get last week. And last week, the defensive line got pressure on the quarterback, those things. But, I think it mostly kind of hones in offensively. That this offense at least needs to look evolved. This offense needs to look cleaner, even if it ends in a loss. Like I can live with a loss. When you're staring at the end of 0-2, of course, that's an uncomfortable feeling. Absolutely 100%. I just need to see improvement.
Yeah, they're going to have to connect because in watching the game, I don't think there was this, this play calling that was just, bad play calling from Tim Kelly. I think that the opportunities were missed, against the last opponent. But, this offense must capitalize on those 3 or 4 plays, because in this game you're only going to get 3 to 5 opportunities to make big plays in games that you draw up that just may work. And when you draw them up and you have people running wide open, you gotta capitalize on them, because if you don't, you may not get another opportunity to make a big play again in the game. So that's what the Titans got to do in this game, is hit those big plays, because I have confidence in Tim Kelly that he's going to call a good game. Do everyone have confidence in Ryan Tannehill that he's going to orchestrate that offense the way it needs to be? Is he going to hit those deep plays down the field that are drawn up where guys are wide open? Because we had 3 or 4 of those this past weekend, and he didn't hit them. So this week you figure they're going to be there. Now you got to hit them.
Well, that brings to mind one thing I've been thinking about is what are we going to see from the crowd? Like, think about the first game in New Orleans. Was the crowd a factor? Mm-hmm. They fumble on the first play of the game, the Saints, but their crowd helps draw a false start on the first play from scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And they got 2 of them during the first drive. So the crowd can be a factor. I want to see what kind of crowd the Titans have, number one. That's always something I'm looking for with the new turf. You got the plans for the new stadium. They're notorious for the other team's fans being in the seats, but the Chargers are not a team that usually brings a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So it should be all Titans fans there, so be a factor in the game. But at the same token, if Tannehill struggles, what does the crowd sound like, right? That's going to be something to keep your eye on. And hopefully he shakes out of it and he makes a statement that, yeah, I'm still the quarterback of this team, and last week is in the past. Let's look ahead. Because he's going to need to play well for them to win. Yes. You're probably not going to shut the Chargers down, although last year it was surprising how little the Chargers offense, as talented as their pieces are, ended up with, 17 to 20 points. They struggled a lot last year, but they look like they've got some stuff fixed, and they're relatively healthy on offense, although Eckler has not practiced the last 2 days. That's something to look for today.
Will, you mentioned what the crowd might sound like if Tannehill doesn't look good. I think the crowd's going to sound a lot like how it did in the season opener 2 seasons ago when the Titans hosted Arizona. And they started booing Taylor
They
Lewan.
got restless. Yeah. They got restless in the very first game, no question.
And I don't blame them. And this is a restlessness that doesn't just come from last week against the Saints. This is a restlessness that I think is kind of a hangover from last season. And you could even say that it's a hangover from 2 seasons ago when Ryan Tannehill threw 3 interceptions in the playoff game. There is still a bad taste in everyone's mouth about that game, that the reputation and the trust in Tannehill has shifted absolutely since that game. And while I don't think that his play last year hurt the Titans and his play was the reason why the Titans missed the playoffs, the quarterbacks are a win-or-loss stat, whether that is fair or not. So that, it could absolutely be a factor. But D-Mase, you mentioned one thing, and I want to get into that coming up next. And that's, you said, I have confidence in Tim Kelly calling a good game. What exactly does that look like? What do we want to see from Tim Kelly? What is a good called game? What is a good offensive day for the Titans look like? We will get into that coming up next. And of course, we will get to your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, we are brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team.
You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Real estate investors, get ready for an incredible opportunity. D&M Development is thrilled to announce the Phase 1 presale of 16 non-owner occupied short-term rentals in Nashville's exclusive resort-style community, the New Cumberland. Nestled between Germantown and East Nashville, this exceptional location offers stunning views of the city and the Cumberland River. Each unit features spacious kitchen, 4 bedrooms, and 4 baths, providing the ultimate luxury experience for your guests. Resort-style pools and a wide range of amenities. Don't miss out on this exclusive investment chance. Visit thenewcumberland.com for more information and secure your spot in this extraordinary community.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Honey, what's an 8-letter word for difficult to explain?
When we planned on retiring, we never planned on Medicare being so confusing.
What's a 6-letter word for special skills or knowledge?
Fortunately, Farm Bureau Health Plans is an expert on all things Medicare. With 75 years of helping Tennesseans, they helped us understand our Medicare options.
Why are these things so complicated?
Talk to your local representative or visit fbhp.com. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Plan on us.
Hey, Tennessee! We're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wish. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
Our fleet vehicle program is a great benefit to all the fleet companies in Nashville. We are able to get their vehicle back on the road a lot quicker than the downtime of most dealers and most general repair shops, simply because we have the transmissions available. We're able to put priority on their vehicles to get them back on the road quickly.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about 2 things. Easy cleanup with the Ryobi 18-volt ONE+ Whisper Series leaf blower.
And football.
That's right, Reese Davis. With variable speed, it has the power for when you really need it and just the right amount when you don't. And the ONE+ battery platform means you go from yard work to DIY in just a click, so you can get more done.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's a lot.
awesome. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
A lot of new pieces on the offensive side of the ball. Was it maybe just a matter of trying to everybody get into a rhythm together?
Yeah, I've got to do a better job of doing that, of getting those guys into a rhythm. There were times where we were able to kind of put some drives together and get the drive started, and that's when we were obviously most effective and able to move the football. But I've got to do a better job with our drive starters to make sure that we're getting our guys into a rhythm sooner.
There you go. That was Titans offensive coordinator Tim Kelly. Got to be better than last week. We heard that from Tannehill. We heard that from Vrabel. Got to coach better. Got to play better. In Tim Kelly's case, got to call better. But D-Mase mentioned something in the last segment. He said, I have confidence that Tim Kelly can call a good game. In your opinion, in both of your opinions, what does that look like? Like, what does the optimal Titans offense, Tim Kelly offensive play called game look like?
I think you just got to stay ahead of the sticks. That right there doesn't necessarily fall on him. I think you can't have any pre-snap penalties, post-snap penalties, and they had those last week. So you got to start one, you got to be disciplined, and then two, you have to find a way to get your playmakers inserted in the game early. Don't wait into the second half. Don't look up on your stat book and see not necessarily yardage, but see, well, damn, we only targeted Traylon one time, or we only targeted, Tajay Spears out of the backfield one time, or we only tried to get Chig the ball one time. You don't ever want to do that. Go at halftime and do that as a coordinator and look at the sheet and say, oh my goodness, now we need to start ramping it up. No, you got to make sure everyone stays in the flow of the game. We're not talking about guys that are screaming and yelling for the football, because it doesn't seem like they have guys on their team that are willing to do that. Everybody's, sort of fit the Vrabel model. Just do your job. That's about it. Don't complain about anything else. But even with that, you can't allow, like I said this earlier this week, you can't allow your playmakers to just sort of float through the game and you're not involving them in the game. Because if you don't involve a player in the game, he tends to wander. So Kelly, to me, must find a way to get everybody involved. Don't let the defense dictate what you do. You dictate how the defense is going to play you. If that means giving the ball to Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears, then you do it. If that means, distributing the ball across the board to the wide receivers, that's what you do. You got to be aggressive. You got to stay ahead of the defensive coordinator. Get the defensive coordinator to thinking what you're doing next. Don't worry too much about what the defense is going to do. You got to make them sort of succumb to what you're doing. So to me, that's what Tim Kelly has to do. I thought he had a good game plan last week. They just missed opportunities. That was not Tim Kelly's fault.
I completely agree. I thought that they called a game that was good enough to win. I thought they didn't execute opportunities that were there, and we've been through it all week. The best teams, whether you're talking about offense, defense, especially if they improve every week, it's a new offense. You've got new pieces. So that's going to be the key. You're going to lose games because of one reason or another. It's a tough league. It's hard to win. Every game seems to be close. The key is to keep shaping and getting better. I would like to see a little bit more involvement from Burks. I'm really curious what happens if DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play, because that might end up being a positive in some ways, because it's going to force them to get other people involved, and then maybe when Hopkins comes back, then you have a more balanced attack, and you're not so focused on we got to get D-Hop the touches. Last night, I thought about this when you guys were sending me, and I was watching the game when A.J. Brown was over on the sideline, and he was probably a little frustrated. A.J. Brown for the Eagles last night, he got more targets than Devontae Smith, but there was a point in the game where he wasn't involved very much. But what was there is the run game was the run game. So DeAndre Swift has a huge game, They're running, they're winning, but you can't always please everybody, right? It's hard to just draw up the perfect game plan where everybody gets the ball the right amount of times and everything goes well. Like it doesn't work like that
across the board.
Right?
Yes. No, you're right.
Like,
go ahead.
In a kindergarten class, sharing is caring. This is not the kindergarten class. This is the NFL, baby. You got to do whatever is working. And I can't say that not having a future Hall of Famer out there in a position where you don't have a lot of speed and you don't have a lot of veteran presence is a good thing for the Titans. But that is one thing that I do want to see from Tim Kelly is don't force feed the ball. And I don't know if that was a Tim Kelly thing. I don't know if that was a Tannehill read option kind of thing. And the first thing they did was pop up, lock his eyes on DeAndre, and deliver him the ball. But whether it's DeAndre, whether it's Traylon, whoever it might be, I don't want to see any individual receiver get force-fed because that's where I saw the Titans get themselves in a lot of holes last week against the Saints. Was Tannehill just force-feeding the ball to DeAndre or Tannehill trying to fit the ball to Chris Moore in double coverage? And then we saw how that ended up. One thing that TD broke down for me this was right around when Tim Kelly was named the offensive coordinator. TD was breaking down Texans film when Tim Kelly was calling offensive plays for the Texans. And he showed me, he said, one thing that I've noticed that Tim Kelly did really well with the Texans was get the defense comfortable and then pull the rug from underneath them. Like, we'll run to the right for a gain of 2, run to the right for a gain of 3. And then the defense gets used to where you're going and is expecting you to run to the right, and then you run to the left. So that's what I want to see, a little bit of unpredictability. And that doesn't mean creativity and that you're taking snaps at a Wildcat every single snap. That's not what I mean by creativity or unpredictability. It's creativity in personnel packages, and it's trying to mix things up and trying to keep this Chargers defense on their toes.
And I would think, too, part of that is the continued building of a rhythm between Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears. It's clear that they want Spears to be a part of this offense and not just a couple series when you're resting Derrick Henry. Like, they want the two of them to mesh, and it's still working itself out, right? We've debated all week. Was it wrong to do what they did, right, and mix Spears in there as much as they did? Maybe that's a tweak here and there, but ultimately they want both of those guys to be good. So you can have a little more, as you're saying, Carolina, a little pull the rug out from under. What we're expecting this, you get that. Like, I think you can do that with Spears. You couldn't do that as much if it's just Derrick Henry back there. You're trying to grow another layer to your offense. And Rome wasn't built in a day, right? But they have to show progress week to week for it to be good.
And that's what I'm looking for Tim Kelly to do. We must remember this. Even though he's been on this coaching staff for 2 years now, this is his first year as a play caller with the Tennessee Titans and this group of guys. Even last year, and then fast forward to this year, it's not the same group of guys. You're working with a different group of catchers. The only guys, there are, 3 guys really back from last year's skill position as far as wide receiver that made an impact in the games last year. That's Derrick Henry, Chigakonkwo, and Traylon Burks. Now, Traylon was hurt. We can throw Nick Westbrook-Akine in there as well. But now you're throwing to other guys that you want to be playmakers in this offense. So as a coordinator, that because of, not playing as much, this is why preseason may look a little bit different next year for this team. Because when you're ushering in new players, you got to find that rhythm between the quarterback and the receivers, or the quarterback and the running backs coming out of the backfield. And practice alone is not going to do it. You got to be in game-type situation, pressure situations. As much as you practice, it's not giving you pressure situations like a game does. When you're in a game, these things come up. Then you find out who your playmakers are. Last week, they were not able to find out who their true playmakers were because they didn't connect on the plays they should have. I look for this week to be a more balanced attack in regards to how the ball is distributed, or at least the plays that are called so the ball can be distributed a little bit more evenly. Everything is not going to be 8, 8, and 8 and 8 as far as targets, but you want to get it so where the defense doesn't know who you're throwing the ball to. That's why Kansas City, that's why the Dolphins, and even Buffalo to an extent. That's why these teams are good. Go back to the Tom Brady days or the Peyton Manning days or the Drew Brees days. They were so good because you couldn't zero in on who they were going to throw it to. You knew who the playmakers were. You knew who the potential Hall of Famers were, but they did a great job at distributing the ball to everybody. They made everybody feel a part of the game. And when you feel a part of the game, you run every play as if you're going to get the ball. That's what these receivers and running backs need to feel this game. Like every route that I'm running, I feel I have an opportunity to get the ball.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get into your calls and your texts. Plus, coming up next, look, I love to look into things. I love to nitpick things. We all do. We all overreact sometimes. But this was on another level, and we'll explain coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, hey, tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits tomorrow for MTSU Blue Raider football. The Blue Raiders will kick off at 6 p.m. at home against Murray State. Pre-game beginning at 5 p.m. You can hear all the coverage on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com.
It's a long summer. But don't worry. Hockey will be back soon. You'll hear every slap shot, save, hit, and of course,
knocked down in front, rebound, and a score!
On your home for Smashville, 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. Is it October yet?
Hear from my friends over at Black Tie Moving. When you choose Black Tie Moving, you're going to get a highly awarded Inc. 500 company. Plus, you can get free estimates by a local professional moving consultant. So I've had some horror stories from some of my moves. And I think one thing that really frustrates me with movers that I've had in the past is that they've got all of these hidden clauses in the contract and they will nickel and dime you. Like one move I had, they charged me a stair fee. One move I had, they charged me an elevator fee. That's not the case with Black Tie Moving. I had a long call with one of their professional moving consultants. They broke down exactly what the rate would be. They asked everything that I had to move, and they were open and honest and completely transparent about their fees. So once I officially, got my total at the end of it, I thought, great. That's what I expected. That's what I was told. They've got a trained and dedicated team that is there to ensure that they can take the stress out of the moving process. We know that moving is stressful, and this was the least stressful move that I have ever had because Black Tie Moving took care of literally and figuratively all the heavy lifting. So visit blacktiemoving.com or call 615-437-8401. That is 615-437-8401. Be sure to mention the promo code GAME to score 10% off of your next move. Then sit back and enjoy the best move of your life.
At Mercedes-Benz of Music City, a healthy and productive culture takes a day-to-day discipline. Here's Sam Cavett, General Manager, with a few thoughts.
Mercedes-Benz has its standard, and we have Dream Motor Group standards. They're definitely on the same level, but I feel like we challenge ourselves at least as much as Mercedes-Benz challenges us. It's a genuine motivation to take care of customers, and we see it in the customer reviews.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
Join 102.5 The Game and me, Big Joe Dubin, for the Big Joe Sunday Show. I'll be on site at Fieldhouse Tavern, breaking down all the action, especially the overreaction to all of this Sunday's big games. Come by and get some excellent food, good drinks, and hang out with Nashville's media darling me, Big Joe Dubin, from 4 till 7 p.m. See ya at Fieldhouse Tavern in the Nations.
Caroline Fenton here for my friends at Sean Hammond's Jiu-Jitsu Academy. They supply a very safe and family-friendly environment with classes daily. Classes range from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, cardio kickboxing, ladies and kids programs, and so much more. Black belt instructed classes for men, women, and kids of all ages. You'll gain knowledge in self-defense, get a great workout, and get in the best shape of your life. Located at 2909 Armory Drive in South Nashville, call Sean Hammond's Jiu-Jitsu Academy today to set up your free trial. Learn more at SeanHammondsBJJ.com.
Get ready to elevate your game day experience. Titans fans, it's all happening on the outside terrace of Mimo Bar at Four Seasons Hotel Nashville. Just a short walk from the bridge at First and Demonbreun. They've got your epic pregame and postgame covered. And hey, listen to this. Everyone at the Titan Up on the Terrace gets a chance to bag a Gibson Guitars merch bundle, a $100 Mimo postgame gift card, or a weekend brunch for two. Make Mimo at Four Seasons Hotel Nashville your go-to downtown spot to pregame, whatever the occasion.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Sorry if you've answered already.
No.
Ryan's decision-making overall.
Well, the decision-making, we just have to be more decisive in all three phases. Figure out, what it is that allows our players to play decisive and play better, especially in an environment like this. Ryan will be better. We'll coach better and we'll get open quicker and we'll block a little longer than we did today going forward, because that's what we have to do.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel earlier this week at the podium. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app. Was there anything that either of you heard from Mike Vrabel this week that made you raise an eyebrow about Ryan Tannehill? Was there anything that Mike Vrabel said that you thought wasn't true or wasn't completely out of line?
For me,
or
no.
Was completely out of line.
For me, no. I what I heard there, and I heard Jared try to break down that comment, and he had his own interpretation of what he heard there. What I heard there was, look, we got a new offense. You have got to get to a point where the quarterback especially, but everybody on that offense is fluid, knows their role, knows the plays without thinking. Like if you take that quote a little bit further, he said, we want to give the guys a couple of slivers of details to think about. But if I give you 6 things going to every play, all right, Derek, you're the quarterback. Remember, you got this guy over here, you got this guy over here, and you got this coverage over here. If I fill your mind with too much clutter and you're thinking too much when you're going, the game's too fast. You're not going to be able to process it. You just have to know it. So that just takes some time. But I think you want to get to that point where everybody's more on the same page. Again, you got to be realistic. This is new. They're trying to move forward. Maybe they have to take a step back before they move forward. But a veteran quarterback, you hope, has to pick up on that quick.
Yeah, they have to. What I heard in that situation, in the question was as pertaining to the quarterback, but Vrabel made it about the team, which he more than likely, like 99% of the time, that's what he is accustomed to, making it about the team and not about one particular individual. He said we need to be more decisive. And yes, we can look at that and watch the film and say, well, Ryan Tannehill, he just needs to be more decisive in what he sees, read the defense. He had guys open here, he has guys open there, he got hit guys here. But decisiveness doesn't always just fall on a quarterback. Receivers, believe what you see. If you see zone and you're reading and you're running it, just be decisive in what you see. The minute you hesitate, you throw the quarterback off. That's what people don't understand. It's like when he's talking about decisiveness, he's not just talking about the quarterback. He's talking about receivers reading the defense. If you believe that's the defense you see, then run it. Don't hesitate, because the minute you hesitate, you throw the quarterback off, not a quarterback sitting there patting the ball and don't have anywhere to go. If you determine what you're doing, if it's wrong, I know it's wrong, now I can go to my next player. But if you're sitting there and you're half-assing it down the field, jogging, then the quarterback's like, okay, what is he going to do? What is he going to do? Then now I'm too late to go off the next guy and hit the next guy. It's about the running backs. You see a hole, be decisive and see it. Run through it. Don't hesitate, because the minute you hesitate and pat your feet, the defense is able to get on you. Derrick Henry, that was a problem of his early on in his career. He sort of waited and was hesitant instead of just hitting the hole. Well, Derrick has to get back to that. Just hit the hole and trust that your offensive line is going to do what they need to do. Young guys, see it, believe it, and run it. We'll correct you when you come back on the sideline. From a defensive standpoint, if you see it, play it. If you see that route, jump on it. Don't be hesitant. Don't be looking in the backfield. Believe what you see. Trust your eyes. Defensive backs say that all the time. Trust your eyes. And it just seems like they're not trusting their eyes and they're hesitant. So when he says that, he's not just talking about the quarterback, but the question was directed toward the quarterback, but he's talking about everybody. Be decisive in what you're doing.
And I think we would all agree that what Mike Vrabel said there was true.
Yeah, it
I
was
have
true.
To be better.
Yeah.
Coaching staff has to be better. Ryan has to be better. We all have to be better. I don't think you can step away from a loss in the National Football League and not say, what was it that we could do better? So you could imagine my shock and honestly frustration when I heard Ian Rappaport say this on the NFL Network yesterday.
I would always say no, that it's ridiculous, right? Because it's literally one game. But it's not really one game, because it was also kind of last year, and obviously they had Malik Willis last year, and they went out and they drafted Will Levis in the second round, actually traded up to draft Will Levis in the second round, which somehow makes it more urgent. I don't know why, but that's kind of what it feels like. And then you read Vrabel's comments. We have to be better. Ryan has to be better. We have to hit guys that are open. You can't force the ball into double coverage. Like, that is rare, right? Like, there's not I cannot think really in recent memory when you hear a coach he's not wrong, obviously. Of course he's right. But, like, that's pretty real. And obviously him and Tano have to have a good relationship for him to be able to say that publicly. But that, to me, Mike, at least kind of starts the clock of, like, we're going to at least think about it. And I know everyone sort of decided that Malik Willis sucks after last year. It sounds like he had a really good camp, and I don't know that he sucks anymore. He might actually be an interesting option here for the Titans. We'll see, though.
Like, is it rare for a coach to say that the quarterback needs to be better after throwing 3 interceptions? Like, there was nothing that Mike Vrabel said in this press conference that led me to believe that the clock is ticking on Ryan Tannehill. I think drafting Malik Willis set the clock on Ryan Tannehill. Drafting Will Levis set the clock on Ryan Tannehill. The fact that Ryan Tannehill is 35 years old and he has a contract that is running out in a couple of years, that sets the clock on Ryan Tannehill. I don't know if Ian Rappaport just read a transcript of what Mike Vrabel said, or if he actually listened to it and that's what he took away from it.
He clearly didn't call Mike Vrabel and ask.
Exactly.
Because, how many times do we have this discussion, Caroline, when you're covering the league, and Ian Rappaport is a good reporter on the league. But look, if the three of us started talking about the Seahawks and what went wrong, they got embarrassed on their home field against the Rams, who aren't supposed to be very good. Mm-hmm. If we started having a discussion from here in Nashville about what's going on in Seattle, some Seattle fans would probably say, those guys don't have any clue, because we're coming from 40,000 feet, right? We're coming from afar. We didn't watch the full game. Or even if we did, we didn't watch all the practices and all the preseason. Ian Rappaport didn't watch the Titans a whole lot. He's guessing.
Well, he told you, because he said, I don't know if Malik Willis has improved.
So put no stock in that. None.
But I'm saying, like, if we as people who cover the Titans in Nashville, saying it on our radio show, talking about the Seahawks, I think that's different than Ian Rappaport, a league insider, saying it on the league network. And this is the kind of thing that is frustrating to me, that I think just fuels false narratives, is when it comes from somebody with as much skin on the walls and as much as great of a reputation as Ian Rappaport has across the league. Look, there's nothing that Mike Vrabel said that made me believe that now he feels so much differently about Ryan Tannehill. Now Ryan Tannehill's time as the starter is expiring all of a sudden, even though they've drafted a quarterback in 2 consecutive drafts and haven't extended him. So it's frustrating. Does Ryan need to be better? Yes, absolutely. 100% he does. And there's no hidden narrative in there, in my opinion.
Well, if this was game 7 and, Ryan had been having trouble, throughout the first 7 games, and say their record was 3-4 or 2-5, then okay. I would say, this is the clock has started on Ryan Tannehill. If he doesn't get it right this next game, then he may be sitting.
Then it's time to have a conversation.
Exactly, but this is
sure.
after the second game, and Ian Rappaport even told in what he was saying. He said, "Listen, Malik Willis got better. Well, I think he did. That's what I heard. He's gotten better. I don't. So he's telling you he's not watching his team as closely as." Somebody locally here that is watching this team. And I don't think anyone listened to Vrabel from a local standpoint anyway. Listened to Vrabel and thought, oh, my goodness, Ryan Tannehill is on the clock right now. No, we all know the deal here. He's been
on the clock.
Yeah, they drafted a quarterback last year. They drafted a quarterback this year. When they draft a quarterback 2 years in a row in the first 3 rounds, that is a notification to the starting quarterback, like we're looking for our next guy. So the clock didn't start on him for this game. The clock started when they start drafting quarterbacks because they know eventually Ryan is not going to be our guy moving forward. So we got to usher in, a new guy in here sometime. So I don't, Titan fans, when you hear Ian Rappaport speak in regards to this situation, I think you take it with a grain of salt and you move on, because I don't think Vrabel is anywhere close to thinking about making a switch. Now, again, if we're 7 games in, they got a losing record, Ryan Tannehill's not playing well, or even 6 games in, then, yeah, maybe the heat is starting to turn up on him. I can see that, but not after 1 game.
Well, as we talk about the clock for Ryan Tannehill, what happens to that clock if Ryan Tannehill isn't better than last week? If we see the same Ryan Tannehill we saw against the Saints? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia,
or the NFL.
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, you should try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure that you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code Caroline. My name, Caroline. So bet with the best and use promo code Caroline this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's back. The world's biggest spa sale at Family Leisure.
How do you know it's the world's biggest spa sale?
Well, it has to be. It is sponsored by Artesian, American Select, and Strong Spas. Those are some of the biggest brands, and it's at 12 Family Leisure locations across the country.
That is pretty big, but
there's more than 700 spas in stock and incoming at the Family Leisure stores, and many more display model spas at liquidation prices. Spa prices start as low as $39.99. It's the world's biggest spa sale at Family Leisure. Both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Where family and fun come together.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. It's about to start getting cooler, and it's time to start thinking about your heating system. You do not want to experience breakdowns when that first temperature drop happens, so it's time to get your heating tune-up taken care of. Luckily, Happy half-off month at Hiller. Tune-ups are 50% off. This month, Hiller is making it easier than ever to tackle necessary home replacements by giving you 50% off select add-on items. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolensville Road.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You kind of want this game to come fast, to get out there and...
Yeah, no question. You know, as soon as I got on the bus, you know, I was texting with Tim and just said, you know, Sunday can't come fast enough. Just want to get back out there. Want to play again as soon as possible, but you know, have some work to do in order to be prepared and be ready to go. But yeah, definitely want to get out there and have an opportunity.
Hell, earlier this week, and look, I get it. I totally understand Ryan Tannehill being, you know, anxious and nervous and just ready to go out there and prove himself. Go out there and prove himself again that, hey, that's not me. That is not me. I cannot wait to get out there and redeem myself in this team. I totally understand. We've probably all been there at some point or another. You feel like you failed and you say, no, I just want another opportunity. Let me do it again. I know that I can do it. But my question is, what if Ryan Tannehill goes out there against the Chargers and it's not better than last week? That he's still missing receivers and he continues to throw interceptions and turn the ball over and not be able to execute this offense at a very high level. Then what?
Well, I think we just got done saying it. I don't think it would be panic button time if it continues to trend. I think the real marker is about 4 to 6 games, depending on what you see. I still think this team is going to be right around 500 for most of the year, so there's going to be some good weeks and bad weeks. I still don't think, if I have to guess, as long as he's healthy, I just don't think his level of play is going to be that bad every week. I'd be really surprised. And he's earned enough, 36-20 as the starter, that even if he struggles again this week, then I don't think there's any question that he is starter in week 3, 4, 5. Now, the question is, if you're out of it, there's 2 reasons you change the quarterback. Either you're out of it and you want to take a look at young guys, or you think one of the young guys gives you a better chance to win right now. I don't feel like right now either one of the young guys is in that question for number 2. But if you're out of it, you don't think you can win, start the clock on one of the young guys, see what you got, let them sink or swim, work out the kinks, see what you've got. Then that's what they have to do.
Yeah, I mean,
this is all hypothetical.
Yeah, this is. I think we're playing this game a little bit too early, and I get it. I understand why, because of how the season ended with the Titans last year. From a national standpoint, how Ryan Tannehill looked the last time the nation saw him up beside this previous game with the New Orleans Saints. So I get why, there are some thinking the way that they're thinking. But listen, it's too early for one. We're only in the second game for two. And Ryan Tannehill has been known to have bounce back games, okay? He plays bad. He gets an opportunity to come back and improve himself. And he has for the most part, because if he didn't, he wouldn't still be the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. Now, his time is running short now because he's getting older. The Titans possibly want to go in another direction with their franchise quarterback. But Ryan Tannehill has shown this city that, listen, when I've had bad games that it looks like, I'm a little bit unsure of myself, I come back and I play well. He did it last season for the most part until he got injured. He was coming off a season where the last game of the season he threw 3 interceptions. He came out, he looked good. It wasn't Ryan Tannehill wasn't the reason why they were losing games. So, again, it's too early. We're having this conversation too early, but I understand why we're having it. But I do believe he's going to play better this upcoming game. Those young guys are just going to have to wait because, one, the head coach is not giving up on the season. And if you go to another quarterback this early, that means you're giving up on the season.
And look, I'm not saying I expect it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect it. I don't expect it to be worse because, frankly, I don't know how much it could be much worse. I'm not saying that I expect Ryan Tannehill to go out there and not throw for a single touchdown pass, throw for sub 200 yards, sub 50% completion percentage. I'm not saying I expect it. I'm just saying, what if? What if?
Well, how would you answer it? If he struggles again, he's still the quarterback in week 3, is he not? There's no scenario where he's not the quarterback in week 3, even if he really is awful.
If Ryan Tannehill has an awful game, you start to have conversations about what happens next. Now, that doesn't mean that you trade Ryan Tannehill that day or that night. That doesn't mean that you bench Ryan Tannehill for week 3, but it means that you start to explore your options around the trade deadline. It means that you start to have those conversations of who are we going to put in there if and when we decide to move on from Ryan Tannehill? Is week 3 going to be any better? How much longer can we wait? How much longer can we let this play out before we essentially just punt on the season and there's really no way that we can dig ourselves out of this hole? Now, when I say we start to have those conversations, it doesn't mean that you make that move immediately. It doesn't mean that you pick up the phone and call the Jets and say third round pick or bust. It just means that you need to start preparing yourself for potentially life after Ryan Tannehill that might come a little bit sooner rather than later, which was more so anticipated.
Well, they already they prepare for it. They're preparing for it. They got them
I'm saying preparing for it in the middle of the season.
But they are
possibly trading Ryan Tannehill in the middle of the season.
I think the conversations should have been had throughout the whole summer, right? You have a whole summer to hash some of this out. Like I brought it up to you guys when the quarterback shuffle was going on, right? When the draft was coming up and people were talking about Carr and Rodgers and Garoppolo and all those guys. I did say, look, if you're out of it after, as you get close to the trade deadline, if the Titans are going nowhere, then absolutely, if you could get an asset back for Ryan Tannehill in the last year of his contract, you would be a fool not to do that. So to me, the groundwork should already have been laid for that. It's just playing it out. I don't know if you start to have the conversations, but I think, like you were saying, Derek, it's early. Mm-hmm. In week 3, week 4, I still think you're playing to
we got about
try to win
7 weeks, 6 to 7 weeks before the trade deadline. Again,
trade deadline is October 31st, so that's right after
6 weeks.
The game against the Falcons in week 7.
Yeah, so week 7.
Okay.
So essentially we have 7 more weeks, 6 more weeks around there. The plan has already been put in place in regards to, our successor after Ryan Tannehill. They believe it's going to be one of the 2 guys that are currently on this roster now. We know who they are. Now, if they get to week, 7 or 6, and their record indicates, they're more than likely out of this thing. It will take a act of God for them to fight their way back into the playoffs, which means they probably would look 2-5, 1-6, somewhere around there, which I don't think is going to happen. But hypothetically, if we're speaking it, that would have to take place. Then you say, I already got my contingency plan in regards to quarterbacks. It's a little bit easier now, depending on how much you want back, to say, here, we are putting out fillers for Ryan Tannehill. It's a little bit easier to do that during as a trade deadline looms upon us. You already got your successors. Whichever one you name, you hope one of them take over the job and can be your future quarterback. But I think it's a little bit easier then to say, okay, we're offering Ryan Tannehill. What is everybody? But because you got to be realistic about what you're going to get back too. Now, if you're saying I want a second-round pick for a quarterback that's doing bad, because obviously he's doing bad because you're 1-6, 2-5, you're not going to get that. So you got to be realistic in what you're going to get back in regards to Ryan Tannehill. But again, this is too early. The last time I saw Ryan Tannehill have a bad game, he came back. He was 20 for 33, 266 yards, average over 8 yards per pass reception with 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 106. That's the Ryan Tannehill that I know. He will bounce. I expect him to bounce back, and these conversations will sort of simmer down a little bit. Now, if he doesn't bounce back, then okay, the conversations are going to continue to heat up just a little bit more. We're going to have continued talks until we see something different from the offense in general.
And I don't even know if I think that the fans are going to be starting to chant Malik here real soon. And I know that you're not going to make a decision based off of what the fans want and what the fans are chanting, but people are going to get impatient really quick because they already are. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, let's get a peek behind the curtain of what's going on the Chargers side of things. Ryan Dyrud, he is an insider and analyst for the Los Angeles Chargers for the Believe Podcast Network, and he will join us coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. 6326 Patton Avenue is a new construction home in Nashville's Charlotte Park neighborhood. It offers 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and nearly 2,500 square feet. Features include a 2-car garage, custom walk-in shower, and a private backyard that's fully fenced. Text the number 2 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Get ready to elevate your game day experience. Titans fans, it's all happening on the outside terrace of Mimo Bar at Four Seasons Hotel Nashville. Just a short walk from the bridge at First and Demumbrian. They've got your epic pregame and postgame covered. And hey, listen to this. Everyone at the Titan Up on the Terrace gets a chance to bag a Gibson Guitars merch bundle, a $100 Mimo postgame gift card, or a weekend brunch for 2. Make Mimo at Four Seasons Hotel Nashville your go-to downtown spot to pregame, whatever the occasion.
94.9 The Fan is your home for Hit City.
Your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series in Charlotte tonight.
Gloves, grabs, guns, gets them, and the Sounds win again.
Pre-game at 5:50.
Nashville Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan and the Fan app.
Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier, and this Game Center Update is brought to you by BetUS Sportbook and Casino, celebrating 30 years by offering the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. Get started at BetUS.com. Yesterday at St. Thomas Sports Park, Derrick Henry spoke to the media and was asked about his usage and the opportunities in the Titans offense.
I'm just trying to make a play whenever my name is called and when I'm in there, and just trying to get everybody going any way I can. We're making the play or me without the ball, and that's all I try to do every time I'm in there and ever since I've been here. So, just trying to be a playmaker and help us win and give us any chance that I can.
Tune in tonight to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds look to continue their winning ways and extend their 5-game win streak. The Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 1063.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Chargers are coming to town for the Titans home opener on Sunday, and joining us now to break it all down is Ryan Dyrud. He's the founder of the LA Football Network and the host of Believe in LA Football. Ryan, appreciate you for joining us. Happy to have you on the show. Just from your perspective, what is kind of the vibe, the feeling of the Chargers coming into this game against the Titans?
Yeah, well, first of all, guys, thanks so much for having me. Excited to be talking ball with you on this great Friday. But, it's kind of weird. There was so much excitement, especially after that tough, brutal playoff loss against Jacksonville last year and how that ended. And you kind of get this sentiment that, okay, they're going to turn this page. They had a good offseason. They were able to re-sign some key players. They had a pretty good draft from all things considered and kind of turning the page. And then it was kind of the same old song and dance, at least defensively, in terms of just being able to slow down Miami whatsoever. Offensively, there was obviously a lot of good things they did with the new Kellen Moore offense. The running game got going great, which was a problem last year. So they didn't really uncork Justin Herbert much, but they didn't really have to just because they were moving the ball so well on the ground. So a lot of emotions around this team here in LA, but to answer your question, it's definitely uneasiness after week one. But what I keep saying is, Miami might be one of the best offenses in football, so you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt and then, stack these games as you move forward. So, but a lot of uneasiness out here in LA.
Now, Ryan Dyrud of the LA Football Network joins us now. Ryan, what's the status, the latest on Austin Eckler, and what does he bring to this offense, and what does this offense look like without him, if the Chargers will be without him on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's still he didn't practice again yesterday, so at this point, definitely questionable for Sunday. I think if I were to put money on it, I think he does end up suiting up and playing. They're just holding that as a precaution. But, I mean, he's a huge part of this offense. Anyone that knows Kellen Moore, he loves that two-back system and kind of, in his time in Dallas, showed it off with Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, who had two different skill sets, and they have that here in L.A. now with Ezekiel Elliott and Joshua Kelly, who kind of emerged as a true RB2 last week. So, without him, it'll be Joshua Kelly getting the lion's share, and Isaiah Spiller, the second-year guy at Texas A&M, will kind of take the more ground and pound, if you will, back. But, I mean, Austin Eckler, what he's able to do through the air, the speed he has in space, what he's able to do in between the tackles with his size, it would be a huge loss, especially going against a very formidable, as you guys know, Titans kind of front seven. So big loss. I think he'll go, but in terms of his status, he didn't practice again on Thursday. So we'll see what happens today.
We'll talk with Ryan Dyrud. We're discussing the L.A. Chargers and Tennessee Titans, breaking them down. Now, Ryan, what is different about this offense? Because these are pretty much the same individuals, with the exception of their first-round pick out of TCU, Quentin Johnson. But this has always been an offense where, from the outside looking in, you thought this could be an explosive offense. And at times it has been. But then at times it hasn't. So what's going to be different under the new offensive coordinator?
Yeah, Joe Lombardi being here the first 2 years, I think calls an offense that just didn't necessarily fit the personnel. It comes from that Sean Payton tree, being back in Denver now with Sean Payton. And it was more of I hate using the word dink and dunk, but it was a much more methodical process of moving down the field and a lot of flag routes and drag routes and stuff like that. And when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, you kind of want to just uncork it and almost throw the playbook out the window. Now, with Kellen Moore, he's obviously going to be very committed to the run, which might seem counterproductive, but it just allows you to open things up for that, that explosiveness through the air. And like I said, last week they didn't need to use it because they rushed for over 200 yards on the ground, and Austin Eckler had some great runs, and they were able to hit some short stuff that broke open. But it allows them to get more space, get creative with it. And as they kind of move the ball with the running game, it'll allow stuff for play action. So I think we'll just see a lot more diversity in what they do, whereas last year it was, you kind of knew what was coming on every play, it felt like, and that was what was so frustrating for Chargers fans. And, I just think Justin Herbert just didn't fit that system, whereas this will be a lot more to his skill set and to this team's skill set in general.
Now, when you look at this defense, I mean, everything is predicated around Bosa getting to the quarterback. You had Khalil Mack there as well on that D line. But from a secondary standpoint, I know the Dolphins are a different team, so we can't look at the Chargers and say, well, that secondary is bad, because look at what they gave up against Miami. Now, a lot of teams are going to give up a lot of yards against the Dolphins. They are just explosive, and watching that film was just like, wow. But what is it about this defense that is going to be able to help what the offense does? Because it just seems like one person in particular, J.C. Jackson, who they paid a lot of money, they still have questions about him now.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about Miami, I watched the film back, and some of the stuff Mike McDaniel was drawing up, but they're going to be open against anyone. So the scheme was looking great for them, and Dolphins fans should be very happy about that offense. But no, it starts on the front. You mentioned Bosa and Mack. They didn't get any pressure on Tua Tagovailoa, and they had their starting tackle out, and they still weren't able to predicate any pressures on him, really. So that's the big thing, is they got to start getting home on the defensive line. And then in the secondary, it's they have all the pieces. They have some great talent there with Derwin James. They're really excited about Ja'Sir Taylor, a second-year guy, and Asante Samuel Jr. in his third year. Mike Davis, who's now been there for a few years. They have a lot of talent. It's just putting it all together and kind of staying home as a unit. Now, J.C. Jackson, I think it's a miracle. He was even on the field for week one, so I'm throwing that out, and I'm not raising the white flag on him yet. He still needs to get his feet wet back in the system and back just playing at full speed after the brutal injury he had last year. But it's a unit that has to be very versatile. Brandon Staley, I always say, he doesn't have corners and safeties. He has DBs. They kind of play all over the field, and they have to work in unison. And there was some confusion last week, and credit that to Mike McDaniel and his scheme and what Tua and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle were able to do. But I think this unit's going to be a good unit. We just need to see it kind of start building up over weeks. But it starts, honestly, with that pass rush, and they just weren't able to get any pressure last week.
Well, and along those lines, Ryan, what do you know about Bosa? Because I know he's missed a couple of practices here. How optimistic are you?
Yeah, he should be good. Yeah, he's a little banged up as well, which he was. I mean, he feels like he's been like that over the last kind of 2 years. So staying healthy has definitely, unfortunately, been an issue for him. But yeah, I think he should be good. If not, or if he's limited, Chris Rump will get a good share, and obviously their Tuli Pelotu, who they drafted out of SC, who had a great game as his first rookie playing time, will get some reps as well. But I think Bosa will go. Whether he plays 100% of the snaps, we'll see. But it's definitely a concern, because he's the guy that they missed dearly last year, and you brought in Mack to have this kind of two-headed monster, and they've played all of 2 games together. So it's definitely something they want to get rolling and get them going, because that's going to be a huge part of the success of this team.
I want to ask you about how the fan base is evolving in your market, because the market, you hear people who even cover the league now that say they grew up in L.A. with no team, right, for a whole generation, basically. Now you go from 0 to 2. You got this brand-new, unbelievable stadium now. So this Chargers fan base specifically, how has it evolved coming up from San Diego?
Yeah, it's such a fun, poignant question that living here in LA and seeing it. I think it's growing great. Anyone that lived here, anyone that covers the team locally knows it was going to take 10 years to really get some traction. When you have no teams for 21 years, all those fans migrate to other teams. Specifically, the Niners have a huge fan base here. The Raiders have a big fan base here. And so when these teams come back or they move here for the first time, it's it's going to take those kids growing up with these teams that are now going to, in 10, 15 years, they're the ones buying the tickets and whatnot. So it is growing. I think there's a lot of excitement. When you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, it's hard not to be excited about this team. I think, to your point about San Diego, there was a lot of pain when they left. And now with it being year 7, I believe, that's starting to kind of mend a little bit. And a lot of those San Diego fans that said they would never be a fan again are kind of coming back and making that hour 20-minute drive up to SoFi, since it's not really that far. So it's a growing fan base. It's a fun fan base. It's a loyal fan base. And I think it's definitely heading in the right direction.
So how do you feel the pressure? Like, you hear this a lot league-wide. You've got an unbelievably talented quarterback in Herbert. He's about to go into that second contract where he's going to take a bigger piece of the pie. And you hear a lot about pressure for this year to win before that contract kicks in. But when you have a fan base sort of growing the way it is, what is that like from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I mean, I'm sure head coach Brandon Staley feels it the most out of anyone. But, it's on the whole team. It's on the organization to kind of keep what they're doing. They do a really good job in community events. And obviously, I'm sure you guys know they have one of the best social teams in the business, which I think is a big factor of why this fan base is growing too, just in that realm. But you also got to look at Justin Herbert, who I would say most people would say is a top 5 quarterback in this league, has all the tools and talent in the world. And he himself has no excuses now. Like for the last 2 years, the scapegoat was kind of Joe Lombardi, and the offensive scheme did not fitting him. But now he has all the tools. He has all the toys to play with. He has an offensive coordinator. And so he's got to go out and win. And, even last week, not to be overcritical, but if you look at the reason they lost that game was the defense giving up over 500 yards. But when it's all said and done, there was a minute and a half left in the game. Justin Herbert had the ball with 2 timeouts and only needed 3 points to go win and wasn't able to get a first down. So it's kind of like you're the star quarterback with this big contract, now the second highest paid quarterback with Burrow's contract. So there's a lot of pressure on him, too, to go and prove that he's not only worth that contract, but worth the praise of, a top 5 QB in this league. And when those big moments arise, he's got to go and show out. So pressure's big. The fans are all in. You can't say a bad word about Justin Herbert in LA because the fans love him so much, which is great. But he's got to go and show out as well.
But what a great position for this Chargers franchise to be in, that you have that franchise likable quarterback. But yeah, to your point, it's got to show up in the win column. It's got to show up in the postseason. Ryan Dyrud is with us. He is the founder of the LA Football Network. Ryan, I'm curious, what has the conversation been like about Ryan Tannehill in your circles this week?
Well, I think there's no disrespect, but there's less fear than there was last week going against Tua Tagovailoa, seeing the 3-interception game and the way the offense moves the ball. So, obviously a guy that's been around the league, he can still do stuff with his legs, but when you look at it from a defensive standpoint, I think there's definitely more comfort level that the Chargers defense will look a little better this week than they did in week 1. But, they still have some great playmakers and can do stuff on the ground. I know it was a little tough sledding last week against the Saints, but the Chargers definitely won't take lightly what guys like Derrick Henry and, I love Tajay Spears, who you guys got in the draft. So, but yeah, I think Tannehill is he's a vet. There's a respect there, but it's definitely not a fear factor anymore, if I can say that.
Okay, it's no disrespect. It's okay. It's all right. It happened. It was bad. It was ugly. Last one from me, Ryan. Do Chargers fans expect to win this game?
I would say yes. I mean, if they go 0-2 to start the year, it's going to be a real dark days here in LA. Even with our September gloom going on with the clouds, it'll be even darker than that if the Chargers start 0-2 with all the hype. So I would almost put this as a must-win just to get things back on track.
Ryan, appreciate you for joining us. Ryan Dyrud, he's the founder of the LA Football Network, and you can find more of his work on the Believe in LA Football podcast. Ryan, appreciate you. Enjoy football this weekend, and we'll be sure to chat with you soon.
Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it, and have a fun weekend.
All right. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right. Coming up next, we will react to what Ryan had to say there. Plus, let's do a little comparison. Who's got the advantage here? Coach, quarterback, offensive line, skill positions. We'll do that on the other side. Also, D-Mase, ask D-Mase in 15 minutes. So get those questions in for D-Mase. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
The big plays.
Henry, touchdown, Tennessee.
All the big stories.
I fully expected DeAndre Hopkins wanting a 1-year deal.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Touchdown, Tennessee.
You're going to make a trade like this.
Does he want to retire a Tennessee Titan?
The door's on the board.
Such superstar players. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday, people. We're one day closer to a big slate of games this weekend, whether it be college or pro. So, if you're betting, Zen Sports is making sports betting better with its cash rewards. Earn 3% cash back on your betting volume each month, and an additional 5% cash back on your betting volume for the first 15 days on Zen Sports when using referral code CORNER, CORNER, and now also earn up to an additional $100 gift card to the Corner Pub when you make your first bet using referral code CORNER. This Sunday, join Zen Sports at the Corner Pub downtown location on 5th Ave, right off of Broadway, to watch the NFL games, meet the team, and get some free fantastic food. All you have to do is sign up using code CORNER, and Zen Sports will also give you a gift card equal to double the amount of your first bet, up to $100. You will receive your gift card via email within 48 hours of making your first bet or when you arrive at the Corner Pub. Plus, you get to watch the game on the biggest LED screen in Nashville. Sounds like betting just got better, people. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet here in Tennessee.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me.
Zipper candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
It's time for another Kubota Field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year will take place on Thursday, September 21st at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Shoot. Stop by our booth to learn all about Kubota. Zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers, receive a coupon for up to $250, plus enter to win prizes. Try it and buy it at Coleman Tractor of Nashville during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Shoot at the Nashville Gun Club, Thursday, September 21st. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. New home. New energy. Same Blue Raiders.
99 yards! Touchdown, Middle Tennessee!
Catch every game for MTSU on 93.3 Classic Hits. Coach Rick Stockstill is poised to lead his team to yet another bowl appearance.
We're really excited about this opportunity.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Do Chargers fans expect to win this game?
I would say yes. I mean, if they go 0-2 to start the year, it's going to be a real dark days here in LA. Even with our September gloom going on with the clouds, it'll be even darker than that if the Chargers start 0-2 with all the hype. So I would almost put this as a must-win just to get things back on track.
There you go. That was Ryan Dyrud. He is the founder of the LA Football Network, covers the Chargers in Southern California on their local radio station and also on the Believe Podcast Network as well. Appreciate him for joining us in the last segment. And I think one thing that really stood out to me there was I think it's an element of not just falling 0-2 for the Chargers. I think it's also an element of falling 0-2 with a loss to a Titans team that turned the ball over 3 times and put up 15 points the week prior. Because there was another, point there that Ryan brought up that he said, look, there's just not the same amount of respect being paid to Tannehill and the Titans that maybe was to Tua and the Dolphins. And that's a frustrating and defeating and, unfortunate, but it's reality of where your team is at.
And they're coming off a week where they got torched. They gave up 466 yards. And so if Ryan Tannehill throws anything close to that, then there's going to be some people there ready to jump off a bridge probably out in L.A. But, I think it comes back to the perspective that we've tried to bring you on our show, right? Here in this market, and it starts with the Titans. Their expectation is still to hang on and be a winning team. That is, even though they have some part of their plan is long-term. You can tell with the 2 quarterbacks drafted, with some of the salary cap moves they made. It wasn't an all-in, but it certainly wasn't a rebuild. They still feel like they can win. But the over-under for wins for the Titans was 7.5, despite all of the issues for the Chargers. And that's a team with issues, right? Their over-under wins is about 9.5. So nationally, there is no comparison between the two teams. The Chargers are a favorite on the road, even though it's a West Coast team coming a long way to play here. So I can see the Chargers saying, well, we'll just get well against the Titans. I'm hoping that that's when you get a little Rocky Balboa from Mike Vrabel and the Titans kind of rallying, because this is, if they're going to contend, you got to knock some teams off like this. Like, we perceive this as sort of an even game. Nationally, I think it's kind of a should win. Chargers should win.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
And I believe people in LA feel the same way about the Chargers. It's sort of like, I equate it to, let's just say boxing. You go out and you fight the top contender, and you lose to the top contender in a close match. It ends up going to the scorecard, and he may win. He wins 2 out of the 3 votes, but it's 75 to 76. In favor of the other opponent. But then you fight someone that may be the 5th, ranked boxer. You feel a little bit different going into that fight, because you said, I went against the champ and I damn near beat him. This person who's a little bit lesser than me, I shouldn't have any problem with him, because I'm not running up against the same issues that I ran up against the champ. That's how I believe the LA Chargers feel. They look at the Dolphins game like, listen, there's nobody in the NFL as fast as the Dolphins. There's nobody that can put 3 skilled players on the field that all run sub-4 threes. Nobody in the NFL. And we hung with them. We should have beat them. Then they come into this game and they look at the Titans. Their methodical, sort of slow build-up offense. From a defensive standpoint, they're thinking, okay, we should be able to handle this. Only thing we got to worry about is Derrick Henry. And if we stop him at the line of scrimmage, then we're good. So the feeling going into this game is a lot different, I believe, in L.A. than it was going into Miami game. The Titans got to use this to their advantage. They got to use this. It's almost as if the L.A. Rams possibly could be thinking, we got to break this week because of how Ryan Tannehill played last week, because of how the secondary played last week. They're thinking our big receivers, the way we run our offense, quick tempo, we should be able to get some big plays on them. The Titans got to find a way to turn that around on the LA Chargers.
And Caroline, wouldn't you say that in the past, this is when Mike Vrabel teams sometimes are at their best, when they're kind of the wounded animal? Like, oh, wow, how are they going to do it if Fulton's banged up again? Now they've lost Hooker. Man, they should have a field day against that team. There's no way they can win. How many times have we said that before? But is this the same Titans? That's the question.
That is an element to a game like this that I don't think can be overlooked. And maybe it's an element of this game that I have overlooked, of the Vrabel underdog mentality. The Vrabel, everyone is counting you out kind of bulletin board material that seems to energize and motivate this team. And we've seen it across several different Mike Vrabel teams. Doesn't matter, who the pass catchers are, who's on the offensive line, the coaches, the coordinators. It seems like Mike Vrabel-led teams have that sort of, to use your term, Willie, the Rocky Balboa mentality of everybody is counting you out, but we're in the background, in the shadows, putting in the work, and we know that we are tougher than you. So that is an element that can take you so far. I mean, sometimes there are teams that are just better than you. Sometimes there are teams that can just put up more points than you. But I think we have seen that. It's a term that Jared has coined, the Vrabel special, of you lose a game you're not supposed to lose in ugly fashion, and then you win a game that you're not supposed to win. Now, the Titans aren't massive underdogs in this game. I mean, when you're a dog in your own stadium, it's not a great look. But you're a 3-point dog. I believe it was ESPN's FPI that put the Chargers at like a 60-something% chance to win this game. So you are an underdog in this game. I do wonder how Vrabel gets this team up after such a crushing loss that they saw last week. But it is absolutely an element.
I'm not worried about him getting them up. This is the home opener. They should be up for this game. The question is, are they good enough? And for a team like the Chargers, what is the reputation of a Chargers? Underachievers, right? A lot of talent.
They don't win enough.
Haven't put it together. Don't win the close games. Mike Vrabel's teams have won the close games. But can you lean on that? Are they good enough? To me, this is going to be a great test because I feel like they will be ready to play. I'd be surprised if this is a blowout. I think it's going to be right in there. But Can the Titans take their game to a big enough level? Can they rise to the occasion defensively and against a really talented offense? And can the offense pick up the slack in a game where they're going to have to score more points? Because the weak suit of the Chargers would appear to be anyway, on defense, especially if Bosa is not playing, which we don't know.
Which calls for a very interesting matchup for a team that can put up 40 points a game against one of the best defensive line in the National Football League versus an offense that didn't score a single touchdown the week before and a defense that has been struggling. So it'll be a fun matchup for certain. Ask D-Mase coming up next. Get those questions in for D-Mase. Get your calls and your text. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Hey, join 1025 and 1063 the game's Big Joe Dubin Show this Sunday at Fieldhouse Tavern in the Nations for the Big Joe Sunday Show. Big Joe will be breaking down all the action, especially the overreaction to all of this Sunday's big games. Get some excellent food, good drinks, and hang out with Big Joe Dubin from 4 to 7 p.m. this Sunday at Fieldhouse Tavern, located at 905 51st Avenue North in the Nations.
Every day we are live and local.
You need to give Ron Tannehill a 2-year extension.
There haven't been too many coaching changes for the Predators.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I think that's what the Titans need.
Players who can score.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Friday. That means we'll be taking it to the bank a little bit later in the show. 1:45 to be exact. And it's brought to you by F&M Bank. And you've heard me talking about those folks a lot and all the ways they can help you and your family. Well, I want to talk to our business owners out there. Owning your own business, and if you own your own business, you probably know this. It's like having another member of your family. It's like success takes time. It requires money, attention, all the right moves, the right tools to help it grow. F&M Bank will treat your business like family. No matter what your business goals, you'll reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you, tools to conveniently manage your money coming in, going out, and the expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. Decisions made locally from a bank where your business means more. So stop by one of the 20 convenient locations and have this discussion. Midtown Nashville, downtown Franklin, 6 in Clarkville. Find yours at myfmbank.com. That's myfmbank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
It's Raymond and Austin. We're back on All-Star Sports Radio. Celebrating their 30th year, our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is offering a 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, the perfect offer for crazy plays, like the famous butt fumble. It's the GOAT of embarrassing plays.
Really, remember when you bet me you could do a live show with a GOAT as your co-host, and he face-kicked you?
Thankfully, I didn't take the under on that one.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect today. The industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus plus up to 30 risk-free bets. BetUS.com, where the game begins.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vandy and UNLV from Las Vegas. Kickoff at 6 p.m. Central. Coverage starts at 4:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is David Price. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
D-Mase. He played 15 years in the NFL.
Quick throw. Touchdown, Derek Mason.
He had over 12,000 receiving yards.
Midfield, and there he goes. 80 yards for the touchdown.
And now you can ask him anything. Have a question about football or life? Now's your time to ask D-Mase.
We'll welcome you in.
Now on Caroline, Willy, and
D-Mase.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Ask D-Mase. Get those questions in for Derek Mason. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Taking your calls, your texts, all of your questions for D-Mase. And speaking of D-Mase, you can join him, Jared Stillman, and Chris Sanders at Teddy's Tavern, located across from the Bridgestone Arena Plaza, this Sunday from 9:30 to 11:30 as we tailgate for the Titans home opener. They'll break down the Titans' Week 2 matchup against the Chargers and give you the latest updates before the game. Our NFL pregame show is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Beast Unleashed. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. D-Mase, you ready for the questions?
Absolutely. You forgot to add in there award-winning. You know,
Oh, pardon.
you got it. Hey, listen.
Underdog leader.
Exactly. Underdog leader. You got to add those things in now. Come on.
The award-winning pregame show. Come on.
Absolutely.
How could I forget?
Absolutely. There we go.
Oh, man. Bring it on. 615-737-1025. What do we have in store for D-Mase this week? I've got one to start it. Caroline, you ready?
All right, let's get into it.
Okay, here we go. Texter Jim says, D-Mase, if DeAndre Hopkins does not play, how do you see the distribution of the ball to the Titans receivers?
Man. You know, you said something earlier, Willie. I don't know if it was on air or you and I were talking.
If it's good, it was on the air.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
if it was bad,
good, yeah,
it was off the air. Nobody heard it.
But Willie said, "Listen, if D-Hop can't play, it may be a good thing because now I know the quarterback or the offensive coordinator wouldn't be so highly dependent on one individual. Sometimes when that key guy is out, it allows everyone else to get in the flow of the game. And this may be an issue. This may be a situation where, if D-Hop doesn't play, I hope he does play because he does give him a better opportunity, a better chance to win. But if he doesn't play, it may be a situation where Ryan Tannehill starts to look at everyone instead of just zeroing in on one guy just about every time.
Yeah, and when I said that, I wasn't saying I hope
exactly
DeAndre Hopkins is gone forever, but it may be a positive in the short term for what you just said. I agree with that. And then when you get D-Hop back, now you've got everybody involved.
Exactly.
And maybe you get the balance you're looking for. We'll see. Just a theory.
Eric is on the line with a question for D-Mase. What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys, before I get started, it's not a dad joke, but I do have a joke that I think, Derek, you're going to love if you want to hear it.
Go ahead.
So a few days ago, I got a phone call from a good friend of mine who said that he talked to another friend after the Alabama-Texas game. This guy was so despondent. He was so upset, just really down in the dumps. So my friend says, hey, you know what? I'm going to cheer you up. How would you like to go out to lunch with me? And he says, yeah, I'd love to go out to lunch. Where are we going to go? He said, Longhorns.
So he added insult to injury.
Yeah. I actually heard that joke. When I heard that joke, I laughed so hard I was in tears. I thought that was a good one, but I thought you might appreciate that.
No, I did. Go ahead.
Yeah, D-Mase, my question is this. One of the things I'm hearing, I don't know if you heard these rumors, there's talk that if it goes south to Tennessee or that the Jets were looking quarterback, he was one of the quarterbacks that had been mentioned, Ryan Tannehill, possibly going back to the Jets. Of course, one person that hated it when he heard about it, of course, was Mike Greenberg. He kind of just trashed it. I won't get into specifically what he said. But if it does go south, do you think that Tannehill could be traded, whether to the Jets or somebody else, since it's the last year of his contract, or do you think, regardless of what happens, he's going to stay with the team? Always good to talk to you guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate the question and the joke. I think it's going to take a couple of weeks for them to get to that point, if indeed they get there. I think they have the utmost trust in Ryan Tannehill. I think they would lean, to keeping him as a starting quarterback rather than not, unless, again, we're in week 6 and they are 2-4, 1-5, right before the trade deadline. Then they may be looking to, because their thing is, hey, listen, we're going to start the book over anyway. We're going to start the page anyway. We're going to turn the page anyway. So if we can get something for Ryan Tannehill right now with a team that may be a little bit desperate or may need a quarterback to sort of get them to where they want to be in regards to the playoffs, then let's go ahead and do it, because at least we can get a 4th, maybe a 5th round pick away from a team if indeed we are choosing to move away from Ryan Tannehill. But it's going to take, a lot in between that to happen for the Titans, for them to sort of go down that road, because they're in win mode. I think as a organization, they want to win as much as they possibly can while they still have Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. But if it looks as if that's not going to happen, I think that's when you will start to possibly see, or hear Ryan Tannehill's name mentioned in trade talks closer to the trade deadline. Don't expect it now or next week. Expect it a little bit closer to the trade deadline.
Now, I can't attest to this since I wasn't here in the city covering the team at the time, but do you feel a little deja vu from the Marcus Mariota days?
It sort of seems, it feels that way, but the part, here's the difference. Ryan Tannehill has been playing good football ever since he took over as quarterback. Mm-hmm. Marcus, and you got to understand, he was a rookie and he had to work his way. He had his whole 4 or 5 years to sort of get better. But there were a lot of ups and downs with Marcus. And there were a lot of things that I think they found out he just couldn't do.
And you hoped that he would eventually be able to do that.
But they knew it wasn't going to get there.
He was young, and he was the 2nd pick in the draft, and you were hoping And look, I thought for a while he was going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I defended him through some of the growing pains, and he just plateaued. And the other thing that killed him was not being able to stay healthy, too, to really get to the next level. So, to me, that was the difference, Caroline, in that. Tannehill's a veteran, right? He's a guy that you should know what you're getting at this point in his career. Marcus was a little bit of a, maybe he'll get there. Maybe he can still get there. But they got to the point where, correctly, they got an insurance policy, which was Tannehill, and they did not commit to him to the next contract.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe a little bit more optimism there with Marcus versus what you're getting with Tannehill.
Exactly.
You should, anyway.
Right, you should. Yeah. Who knows? Give me a little bit of whiplash over here. Cody Texan says, do wide receivers feel pressure to get open quicker when they feel like the offensive line is struggling?
No, you can't. You can't think that way because you end up shortening your route, doing things that you're not accustomed to doing. Your main objective is to just get open. Be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Give the quarterback a window to throw the ball into. Put yourself in a position between the defensive back and the football. That's what you have to do. You can't worry about the offensive line and if they're going to do their job or not. Because what if they do their job and then you rush the route? Now the quarterback hasn't even hit his third or fifth step, and you're into your route. Now when he looks at you, you're covered. Why? Because you have rushed your route. You have shown the defense what you're doing already. So in regards to wide receivers, we're not worried about the offensive line. We're not. We're worried about just getting open, doing our job, making sure, again, that we're getting as close to the depth as possible, and that we're running the offense or running our pass routes the way they're supposed to be ran. There's always going to be a little leeway here and there, but it can't be predicated on whether the offensive line is doing a good job or not. You leave that to the offensive coordinator. If the offensive coordinator feels that the offensive line isn't doing a job, then he's just going to do two things: max protect, or he's going to go to the quick pass. That's what he's going to do. Receivers, we can't worry about that. We just got to do the job that we have been tasked to do, and that's get open.
More questions for D-Mase coming up next. Get those calls and texts in for D-Mase. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. And hey, play silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. Make your picks today at theGameNashville.com or the 1025 The Game app before the first game on Saturday. Silly Underdog Picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
1025 and 1063, The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
Big time performance, best part of the team.
Chase McCabe 9 to 11.
An unrestricted free agent.
Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase 11 to 2.
Got the big contract.
The Velvet Touch.
Talk about Hall of Famers.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
Kept going for it.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Smashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 1025 and 1063. The Game.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks is always adding exciting cocktails to the menu, like the expertly balanced Sincoro Hall of Fame Margarita. Try it at your local lodge today.
Join former All-Pro quarterback and Pro Football Hall of Famer Warren Moon, former Titan Brad Hopkins, and NFL Alumni Tennessee chapter president and former All-Pro linebacker Al Smith on September 23rd from 1 to 4 for a Gear Up for Fall event at St. Luke CME Church, located at 2008 Ed Temple Boulevard in Nashville, and is a partnership of St. Luke NFL alumni and Meharry Medical College. There will be music, food, games, health screenings, and free NFL alumni giveaways. Adults age 50 years and older can also get their shingles vaccine.
We gather together in communities across the nation to remember and honor, to celebrate and support, to light the night. We are LLS, and when we walk, cancer runs. Find your local event at lightthenight.org.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway. Now here's Jim Mitchell.
At Mitchell's Mr. Transmission, we also offer free towing with any major repairs. If your vehicle has a breakdown and you should need any type towing, towing is available through Dad's Towing Service. Dad's is a professional towing company in Nashville that provides all types towing and recovery, 24 hours a day.
You know it's going to happen, and when your car needs service or repair, remember Mitchell's Mr. Transmission on Gallatin Road, just north of Briley Parkway.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berry-licious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
At EasyCater, we get it. Ordering food for work means you have to deal with this.
Client meeting on Tuesday.
Client wants Taco Tuesday.
19 people.
Need vegan options.
Our budget just got slashed.
Meeting is now Monday. What about Mediterranean? Client still wants taco.
Claire has a nut allergy. Gluten-free. Under budget.
Is there vegan
vegetarian, vegan,
Tacos for a client meeting? Just use EasyCater. Food for work delivered on time as ordered with a huge variety. 100,000 restaurants, one platform. Order 24/7 at easycater.com.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In for D-Mase, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Chip from Mount Juliet texts in, phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, said this could be a 9-game losing streak for Mike Vrabel. When is he going to start feeling the heat?
When is Vrabel going to start feeling the heat? Well, if they lose 3 or 4 in a row, then everybody's going to feel the heat, along with Mike Vrabel. But this has been sort of the unanswered question. And we've all been asking this. You know, first you get rid of your GM, then you get rid of your offensive coordinator. Who's next? You know, in the line of guys or individuals that are on the blame list. Right now, you would tend to think, just by the process of elimination, that Vrabel is at the top of the list of the blame game. Now,
totally.
They're going to give him every opportunity to right the ship. They are. But if they, like the texter said, if they go on a 9-game losing streak, it ain't just going to be Vrabel that's on the hot seat. I tell you that. There's going to be a lot of other coaches on the hot seat as well within that organization. But, you know, Vrabel do deserve, if this continues to, you know, go as far as them not playing well on offense, them losing close games, then, yeah, you're going to start to hear not just fans, but you're going to start to hear from a national standpoint the noise or the chatter about, you know, Mike Vrabel. Has it worn thin? Has his message fallen on deaf ear? Has he gotten the most out of that roster that he could possibly get? Do they need a new voice in the locker room? These are all things that come up no matter what. If you go 2 to 3 seasons and don't win and miss the playoffs, when you are a team that is accustomed to making the playoffs, look at what they're saying about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has won 7 Super Bowls, been to the playoffs just about every year. But the last 2 years, after Tom Brady leaves, they didn't. So now what is happening? You're starting to hear the chatter. Is it wearing thin there in New England? Has the message been lost on these younger players? Can Bill still do it? If it can happen to Bill, it can happen to Vrabel as well. So if this thing starts to fall off the rails, then, I mean, just by process of elimination, Vrabel is next up.
Heck, it's happening to Saban now, too.
Yeah, exactly. So it happens
The
to
shine
every
comes
coach.
off the apple.
Absolutely.
Dylan texts in with a question for D-Mase. Says, hey, Derek, I have a hard question for you. Let's say you're playing in the Super Bowl and you got injured at halftime and your team is down 3 points. The trainer or the doctor can give you a shot in your leg to let you go back out and play, but there's a 90% chance that you will further your injury in your leg and that this will be your last game. Or you can sit out the second half and go back at it again next year. Which would you choose?
Well, it all depends on where am I at my career. If I'm in year 15, then okay, shoot me up. Let's go out there. Let's get it done. Because more than likely, I am retiring after the game or sometime, during the season or after the next following season. So if I'm in year 15, yeah, I'm out there. I'm trying to help my guys win. If I'm in year 5, no, I'm not. I'm just not. If my injury is that significant where they say, listen, if we give you this shot, you may be all right for this game, but you can further injure your knee and it's going to set you back a lot. Then any reasonable person would say, and your team would expect you to say, don't put me out there. Because if I'm that important to the team, they need me for more than just this one game, even though they would love me for that one game, but they need me for the next following season as well. So I'm saying, listen, I'm good. I hate that I'm hurt. I want to be out there, but I have to think about my health long term in this game, not necessarily about this one game. And I'm in year 5.
That's a interesting question. Here's another good one. D-Mase, this is from Matthew. What are your thoughts on the George Pickens situation in Pittsburgh? He was caught on camera against the 49ers, visibly angry on the sideline about lack of targets, and even liking Instagram posts blasting Kenny Pickett. This was a theme last year about him being angry about lack of targets. Should the Steeler fans like me, be worried he's a ticking time bomb?
Okay, there's a difference between being frustrated and venting than being frustrated and venting at the person that's throwing you the ball.
And also in the moment during the game as opposed to after the game when you're on your phone.
Exactly. When you are on the field. And I've had heated conversations with Joe Flacco. I've had heated conversations with Steve McNair or whoever other quarterback. I played with like 10 different quarterbacks in the NFL. And out of that 10, I would say I had some heated moments with at least 2 to 3 of them. But it was at the moment. Once the game was over or we were on to the next series, I had forgotten about it. We were trying to accomplish some things on the field. After the game, that was never my thing to get on social media and start blasting the calls.
To me.
Exactly. Or start going at my quarterback. Again,
imagine
this
if
is
a
the guy throwing my ball.
Receiver?
Exactly. The receiver would be so upset. So upset, like, dude, how can you come at me like that? Again, I don't mind the back and forth during the game because coaches do it to other coaches. Players and coaches go at it. Players and players go at it. Guy may miss a tackle or play the wrong defense. Those guys are arguing on the sideline.
Brady was very demonstrative
Exactly.
at times.
But once the game is over, it's done. We all just need to get it corrected. So I'm not – you Steeler fans, you may want to be a little concerned because it just seems – and I'm just saying, it just seems like in the last since Hines Ward left and that group of receivers, since they've left, this new group of receivers, a little bit unstable. You know, you don't know from Claypool to Brown and now Pickens. I mean, yeah, y'all may want to start just worrying a little bit.
And there was even a viral moment from the Thursday Night Football game last night of A.J. Brown.
And I don't mind that.
Jalen Hurts.
Right. And I don't mind that because it's all during the game. Now, if AJ starts to tweet about Jalen Hurts after the game and all that, then okay, we got a problem. But AJ's not going to do that. You know, he wanted to go to Philly. He wanted to go to Philly because of Jalen Hurts. So he's not then after one game is going to throw him under the bus. That is not going to happen. If it happens, I would be the first person that tweet at AJ and it's like, that's not cool. But I don't expect that to happen in this case.
We know AJ's Twitter fingers are going to Twitter finger, but yeah, I'm with you. I think that relationship between Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown is too strong for AJ to start coming at his quarterback publicly. I mean, that's crossing a line, and that's breaking a level of trust. One texter asked D-Mase, says, do you feel like the secondary being last in the league last year and still giving up chunk plays is a problem? And why doesn't anyone really talk about it?
Well, if you've been listening to this show, that's all I've been screaming.
We talk a good bit about it.
Exactly. That's all I screamed this last season. I screamed this at the beginning of the year. I screamed it during the draft, off-season, free agency. This secondary, I am worried about, and nobody outside of sort of this room that we're in, meaning you, Willy, and myself, no one else really talked about it. No one else really brought it up. But this has always been a concern of mine because not just they're not playing to the level of the defensive line, they're hurt all the time. This is probably the one position that's hurt more than anybody, it seems like the last couple of seasons. So this is nothing new to this show. We've been screaming about this secondary since last year, but it gets overshadowed because of the offensive line, the pass catchers, and we have such an awesome defensive line that the people just think, oh, if you got a great defensive line, then the back end should be good. Not necessarily, because they're not getting to the quarterback every play.
Last year, they gave up the most yards per game through the air, 270-something yards. Mm-hmm. But it can, I think to a degree, it can be rationalized by saying, well, look at the defensive backs they had and look at where the defensive line was by the end of the year. That contributed. Still a question mark. But that is a huge factor going into this game. What's interesting is that the Chargers ran the ball so much last week. They ran it 40 times. But do they just say, you know what, we're licking our chops, let's attack this Titans secondary? I'm curious to see what kind of game plan we see.
And I think the reason why, D-Mase, you brought it up, how it might get overshadowed by quarterback talk, because it's the quarterback. And also because we have so much trust in this defensive line that I look at it and say, hey, you can disrupt the quarterback, get to the quarterback and disrupt the play, then you don't have to worry about the secondary. But it absolutely still is a concern, one, given the injuries, and two, given just the sheer number of yards that this team gave up and the secondary gave up last year. And, oh, yeah, by the way, you're going up against a quarterback and an offense that can put up 35 points in a game. So absolutely it is a concern. All right, coming up next, we'll check in with TSU head coach and Titans legend Eddie George, plus our three keys to victory for the Tennessee Titans. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, stay tuned in for Nashville Sounds Baseball today at 6:04 p.m. on 94.9 The Fan. Awfully precise time. I like it. The Sounds take on the Charlotte Knights, AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. Sounds Baseball on 94.9 The Fan is presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans and Family Leisure.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Join 102.5 The Game and me, Big Joe Dubin, for the Big Joe Sunday Show. I'll be on site at Fieldhouse Tavern, breaking down all the action, especially the overreaction to all of this Sunday's big games. Come by and get some excellent food, good drinks, and hang out with Nashville's media darling, me, Big Joe Dubin, from 4 till 7 p.m. See ya at Fieldhouse Tavern in the Nation.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, fun in the sun goes way beyond the white sand beaches. Let's rock out at a waterfront concert at the Sound. Let's marvel at masterpieces of the Chihuly Collection and make some flippered friends at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Let's pedal the 75-mile Pinellas Trail and stop at Florida's oldest microbrewery along the way. This fall, let's go for all the sun and none of the crowds. Let's shine. Plan your getaway at visitstpeteclearwater.com.
Hey, this is the Fat Jack, and we're heading into the middle of September. How did you do betting the games last week? Did you have teams like Auburn, maybe the New York Giants, teams that got you into the hole, maybe the Kansas City Chiefs? This week, go to FatJackSports.com. Get signed up to turn a profit betting the games. The plays are texted to your cell phone. They're emailed to you, and they're going to get you into profit. Get everything through the month of September, only $299, and start making money betting the games against the spread. The Fat Jack Sports Service. No tricks, no gimmicks, just winners.
This week's Nashville's best deals is the legendary Elliston Place Soda Shop. Elliston Place Soda Shop is 1 part soda shop, 1 part meat and 3, and 1 part old school diner that has been serving Nashville since 1939. Elliston Place Soda Shop is a true family tradition, serving up breakfast all dadgum day as well as hand-dipped, hand-spun milkshakes the old school way. Get half off a $20 gift card to Elliston Place Soda Shop now at thegamenashville.com/deals while they last.
Blue Raider football lives on 93.3 Classic Hits.
Hey, this Saturday, the Blue Raiders return home for the first time this season to take on Murray State. Coverage begins at 5.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. The Vanderbilt Commodores go on the road as they take on UNLV. Earlier this week, Vanderbilt head coach Clark Lee joined Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase and shared his thoughts about the team and how they have to eliminate their mistakes.
And kind of eliminate, some of that carelessness with the ball. Know where I'm going to miss. Know when it's okay to take a sack. Know when it's okay to throw the ball away. Know when it's okay to tuck it and take 3 yards running and go to 2nd and 7. And I just think that takes some experience at times. So we're putting attention to it, and we're talking about it.
Tune in tonight to 94.9 The Fan as the Nashville Sounds look to continue their winning ways as they take on the Charlotte Knights, the AAA affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063, The Game, and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Our video streaming is brought to you by Superbook. Download their app today and use promo code THEGAME. Normally, Eddie George, CSU head coach and Titans legend, joins us. Eddie George is presented by Calabria Pizza. Come try their pizza in Goodlettsville and Mount Juliet because life is just too short to eat bad pizza. But Eddie is a busy man, so we move forward, continuing our conversation with the Tennessee Titans and the Chargers come into town on Sunday in the Titans home opener. I have 3 keys to victory for the Tennessee Titans on Sunday. Maybe it'll be enough. Maybe it won't be enough.
Throw them
I have
to
mine,
us.
and
Hit us.
I want to hear yours too. My keys to the Tennessee Titans victory on Sunday. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the strongest unit on this team, and that's the defensive line. My first key to victory for the Titans: you have to get pressure on Justin Herbert. You have to get pressure on him for a few reasons. One, if Herbert drops back, he's going to launch the ball downfield, and I don't trust this secondary to be able to win those matchups with the Chargers receivers. I simply just don't really trust this secondary very much, period. So let the big men up front carry a majority of the load, get pressure on Justin Herbert, and kind of like take Superman's cape off. Take away what the Chargers do best. The second reason for that is the Chargers might not have Austin Eckler on Sunday. And if they don't, and you get pressure on the quarterback, then they don't have as strong or threatening of a run game to defer to. So my first key, get pressure on Justin Herbert.
I like it. I think that's essential in this game. It's probably going to be essential really for this entire season. This is the strength of the team. And along those lines, I saw the stat, and I think it was maybe even Broadway Sports, I think, that put this out there. I'm not sure where they got it. It might have been Pro Football Focus, one of those places. But I think our eye test would match up. Harold Landry's pressure rate was next to nothing last week. Now, he did have a tough matchup. But I'd like to see him flash a little bit more. We know Arden Key had an outstanding game, but there are opportunities on that edge. When you've got T.R. Tart and Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry doing their thing on a little bit more of the interior, I realize Autry can go outside too, but, man, if they could get that element off the edge, like Key showed you, get it from the other side with Landry, now we're really talking about a serious pass rush. With four guys, not having to bring the fifth and the sixth guy.
Well, yeah, and you're right, Caroline. This defensive line has to continue to put pressure, especially in this game, considering the weapons they have outside and who's at quarterback. Now, last week, Autry and Arden Key both, I believe, registered 2 sacks. Aziz, he was flying around. Jeffrey Simmons was Jeffrey Simmons. So. It's Harold Landry for me, and I don't expect Harold Landry to be Harold Landry that he was prior to the injury.
Are you worried after the first week about him?
Yeah, I am. Not necessarily worried that, okay, we're not going to get any production out of him, but worried that there's so much pressure on him to be that guy that, if he doesn't give it, then what is everyone thinking? Is everyone already willing to give up on him? Or are they ready to blast him because he has this huge contract or whatnot? I think eventually he will come on. I think it's just going to take a minute for him. Didn't play much of the preseason. They were sort of on the pitch count. This is his first opportunity to get real snaps, and it's going to take a minute for him. This is a guy that used his speed and strength a lot to get to the quarterback, and now it's been taken away from him for the moment, the strength and the speed because of the knee.
Also, while we're on the defense, Mike Vrabel is speaking in the locker room, not at the podium, so we're not able to carry that. Mike Vrabel did rule out Amani Hooker and Christian Fulton on Sunday.
Christian Fulton ruled out. Now, that is a story. I think we all expected Hooker. I wasn't
Being
sure
under
about
concussion
Fulton.
protocol, yeah.
But those two guys, the availability, what a crushing thing.
Vrabel's done with them now. I guarantee you that. I'm being serious, and I hate it for him too because all of the work that he put in the offseason to make sure he was healthy. He did all the things that he thought were correct to make things better. But again, I've never heard anyone that said I used to have chronic hamstring issues. Once you have them,
nightmare.
You have them.
It's a nightmare.
And right now, I think Vrabel is frustrated, big time frustrated. But I think you will see now the emergence of McQuarrie really show up in this defense because you're going to have to lean on these young guys now.
I feel for Fulton, too, because Caroline, remember, we had a chance to talk to him during training camp. It was a day that D-Mase was on vacation. And I asked him, I said, we know he's missed a certain amount of games, Fulton. I said, of the games you played, how often were you feeling the effects? And he said a lot of them, right? So he's not only missing games completely, but in the games he's playing. And Sunday was an example. He was fighting through it, right? He tried to fight through it. He was on the field. And you could tell Mike Vrabel was a little emotional about the question of, hey, how did you determine Fulton was okay to go back in the game? Because the critical play in the game is the 3rd and long, late. You got a chance to make a stop and get your offense a chance with the ball for one more shot to get the winning field goal, and Fulton got beat on quite honestly, a low percentage gutsy pass, right? Some teams might have even just run it. But they challenged Fulton, and he didn't look like he was running very well. And now here he is with a hamstring injury. So I feel for him because it's a contract year for him. He's got to prove that he belongs in this league. He can play when he's healthy, but there's such a high percentage of the time where he's either out or playing at less than 100%. And it's mostly the hamstring, if not all the hamstring.
Bud Dupree could play when he was healthy. David Long Jr.
I'm not sure he could play when he was healthy.
When he was healthy. But they are out of here. And I do hate that for Christian Fulton. But, I mean, Mike Vrabel has proven time and time again, hey, your best ability is your availability. And Christian Fulton just hasn't been available for this team. So, hey, Kindle Vildor and Roger McCreary and Anthony Kendall, get out there.
Come on down.
Come on down. You're the next contestant.
But that makes getting pressure on Justin Herbert just that much more important.
All right. We got a key number 2? Or are we moving on the other side?
Key number 2. I'll get there quickly. Keep the defense guessing. And that's something that we have talked about all week long is, look, when Ryan Tannehill is force-feeding the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, it doesn't make the Saints' defense jobs too difficult. So make their job more difficult. Be creative. Make the defense guess. Have Ryan Tannehill and Tajay Spears out there at the same time. Make the defense have to spread out. Present the threat of the run, but also be able to spread the ball around to your several different pass catchers that you may or may not have available. Who knows if DeAndre Hopkins is going to be available. But just keep the Chargers defense on their toes. If you show them a couple looks, pull the sheet out from underneath them and show them a different look.
I would like to see that. I have defended the game plan a lot and the play calling. What I wished I had seen a little bit more of is scheme your way into a couple, and I think you could argue they schemed their way into a couple of touchdown throws, and they just missed the throws. The scheme was there. The players wide open. The matchup was there on a couple of essential plays. But throughout the game, I would love to see a little bit of, you think we're running? It's a pass, or vice versa, right? I'd love to see that take a next step forward.
Right. Just show another level to this offense. And the another level to the offense
little deception.
Just airing it out 40 times a game. Exactly. Deception and creativity and personnel packages. Not just, hey, you thought we were going to run it? We're going to throw it. Surprise, even though it might end up in an interception. But some more keys to a Titans victory coming up next, and your thoughts as well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Hey, Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah. Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We got a good thing growing at the Nashville Fair. We offer nightly music, wrestling, cultural arts, barnyard animals, dinner shows, games, competitions, classic fair foods, and thrilling rides. Join in and explore the fun at your Nashville Fair, the only fair in Nashville. Now through September 17th at the Fairgrounds Nashville. Buy tickets online and save at nashfair.fun. Come on out and grow with us at the Nashville Fair.
Willy Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com. Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
In any work environment, the culture is the most important thing. And what makes up the culture? The people. Hey, this is Sean Fort, General Manager of Cromwell Media, and this month we want to highlight a few of our employees celebrating their anniversary. We have 2 members of our sales department, Jeff Kolb celebrating 12 years, and Matt Saggio celebrating 11 years with Cromwell Media. We also want to highlight Tina Jackson in our HR department, celebrating 2 years. Thank you all for making this a great place to work. If you're looking for a new career or just somewhere fun to work, send us a resume to together@cromwellmedia.com. Love what you do, love where you work.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You'd have to ask those guys. I try not to spend a lot of time in the locker room, but I think the most important thing is that we got better each day throughout practice. You know, it comes down to, you know, us staying efficient and not hurting ourselves offensively. It comes down to us, you know, setting the table better on special teams, and then defensively, you know, trying to affect the quarterback. Easier said than done. They got off to a great start last week. The Chargers did. So our ability to force them into longer yardage situations will be critical. At 5 third and ones, at 3 third and twos, it's impressive.
How valuable?
You'd have to ask those guys.
He Speaks will continue to get you updates as soon as those become available. Mike Vrabel said they've gotten better every day in practice. And Mike, I hope that is the truth, because the Titans are going to have to be better on Sunday if they want to turn this ship around following that loss to New Orleans. So breaking down the keys for the Titans, my keys at least for a Titans victory on Sunday. First, get pressure on Justin Herbert. And that key just became so much more vital with the news that Christian Fulton and Amani Hooker will be out on Sunday. And then my second thing offensively, keep the defense guessing. Let's show some different looks out there. Let's try to confuse the defense. Let's get a little bit more creative personnel packages. I'd like to see Derek out there a little bit more on 1st and 10, even if you don't hand it off to him. At least force the defense to keep them honest and to pay attention to the threat of the run. My third and final key, it's pretty simple, and I feel like it's pretty obvious. Don't turn the ball over. Do not turn the ball over, whether that's losing a fumble or a Tannehill interception. If you give the Chargers more opportunities offensively, they're going to be able to capitalize on it. They are just a better team offensively than you are. They can capitalize on those opportunities. I mean, they had double the points that you did in week 1. So don't turn the ball over. You know, eliminate the pre-snap penalties. Don't make your job harder than it already is.
I was thinking about this morning, D-Mase. They got a turnover on the first play of the season, right? A great play by Hooker. Yeah. And now, who knows when we're going to see Hooker again, unfortunately. They got a pick in the red zone. They intercepted Derek Carr. So they created 2 turnovers. That is a good thing. So they only lost the turnover battle by 1 at the end of it. But you could argue that was the difference in the game. If
Yeah.
it's 3-2 the other way, they might win by 1, or they might have won by more. There's a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda out of this game, despite all of the problems that they had. It might have come down to turnovers. So I'm totally on board with Caroline's assessment on that. Give me a plus turnover here.
Yeah, you can't, they were negative in the turnover ratio last season. They can't then be trending that way this season because, again, this offense isn't, I think at this particular moment, is equipped to turn the ball over 2-3 times and still win a game or come back and win a game. It's just that type of offense at this particular time. So they got to protect the football at all costs. And listen, we're not saying anything that Mike Vrabel hasn't preached to this team before the New Orleans game and subsequently after the New Orleans games. He might have even reinforced it even more after the New Orleans games, because once they looked at the film, they realized, listen, we had opportunities. If we don't turn the ball over and we hit guys, we win that game point blank. So moving forward, this team has to be, one, they can't turn the ball over, but then they got to get turnovers. They got to put this offense in a good position to score points.
Because when you are the inferior offense, you got to create more opportunities for yourself. That's pretty clear. That when you got a defense that can do that, capitalize on that. Make the Chargers feel uncomfortable. But as we talk about creating offensive opportunities, that could be different, could be more difficult if DeAndre Hopkins is not good to go. Now, we don't have an official injury report for today's practice, nor do we have an official Friday status for the Titans quite yet. I expect that to come out probably in the next hour or so. But DeAndre Hopkins did talk with the media in the locker room about his status, what they've been working on the past week. This was D-Hop.
I mean, really didn't have much time, maybe, a minute, actually, if that, if we got the ball back. But, we prepared those situations in camp. Those guys did before I got here as well. You could tell how they prepared in camp when we went over those scenarios. So, hopefully, you don't want to be in those situations, but I feel like we were prepared.
As far as this week is concerned, have you gotten to sit down and watch a lot of film with him?
Of course. That's while Ryan played a lot of football. That's why his record is what it is. He's the kind of guy that's going to come in the film room and help us correct our mistakes and his mistakes as well.
I would assume so. That they have been doing everything in their power this past week to fix the things that went wrong, to iron out all of the wrinkles in the passing game this past week, but still no word yet on DeAndre Hopkins. Hasn't been ruled out. He did tell reporters that, he's just kind of going to wait and see about the status on Sunday.
Preparing as if he's going to play is what he said, but he is also not practicing today. And Peter Skoronski, by the way, is not practicing today. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
Yeah.
You got too many guys not practicing on it.
Like Skoronski, I haven't even noticed on the injury report. Has he been on there?
No, he wasn't on the other day. Was it yesterday? I don't think he was on yesterday's report, but you just never know.
He was not on. I don't think he's been on the injury report all week. Why? I'm not sure why he would not be practicing.
I guess it's precaution.
But Hopkins not practicing all week.
Yeah. I
don't know.
The one encouraging thing about that is D-Hop is a guy with the reputation of he can not practice and then play Sunday. That he does have a reputation for that. But in terms of the injury, it does make me concerned. But this just means more opportunities for Treylon Burks. Like, if I'm Treylon Burks, I'm looking at this and saying, hey, this is my opportunity to get balls early and to get opportunities early. I just need Treylon Burks to hold on to the football. He had that one drop last week. Can't be doing that.
I also wonder about how he's feeling physically, D-Mase. Is he totally over the scare that we had in Minnesota?
I think he is. It boils down to me. It boils down to you did not get him involved in the offense early. You have to know your players. And I'm not saying Tim Kelly doesn't know his players, but you got to understand and know that, listen, he's not a D-Hop where D-Hop may be able to float for a bit, and then you sort of get him into the game because this whole thing is just catching the football. With a young guy, you got to keep them involved. You have to, because again, if you don't keep them involved, then they sort of float. They're still doing their job, but they're sort of floating out there in regards to a mental aspect. So giving him a reverse at early on, that's not getting him the ball. We're talking about getting him the ball in the passing game. So that's going to be key for this offense. If D-Hop plays or not, getting Traylon involved early is a must for this offense if they want to establish some type of balance in the passing game. Not balance in general, but just balance in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of my keys to victory for the Titans was keep the defense guessing, and doing that, it's being balanced. It's not handing the ball off on every single down. It's not taking Derrick Henry off the field on 1st and 10 with a full, wide receiver package and pass catchers package out there. It's being balanced, and in being balanced, you establish to the defense that, hey, we can do anything. We can throw anything your way. 615-737. Before we break, any keys that I missed?
No. I think those are 3 critical things that I think the Titans must do if indeed they're going to win this game. But now, in lieu of what we found out with Fulton, we figured Hooker would be out because he was in concussion protocol, but Fulton was the guy that we were sort of, iffy about whether he's going to play or not. Now he's out. It's going to be really imperative that defensive front gets to the quarterback. Do they send more blitzes? Because we know this team can get to the quarterback by rushing their 4 or their 3 guys on a down line. But with this Charger team, do you need to add on more pressure considering that Fulton's not playing? Or do you play it safe, let the 3 down linemen rush and those backers and play zone on the back end?
That is a big one for both teams. I noticed the Chargers played a lot of man-to-man and got torched last week. So what do they do? I mean, they may want to play man-to-man, but they might have just decided, you know what, we need to play more zone. Or maybe their approach is these wide receivers aren't nearly as good as the ones we just played. Let's stick with what we want to do, man-to-man. And you just pointed out, I think, the dilemma for the Titans. Can they play much man against these big, strong receivers? Mm-hmm. You were talking earlier this week when you were giving us your scouting report of the Chargers, the size of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Everett, the tight end. Big, strong guys who can catch in traffic.
He's 6'8". You know, so this ain't these ain't a bunch of Smurfs walking around. Okay, we're talking about some giants that's playing football. Not the Giants, but giants.
Yeah, the Giants in Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll take a quick Titans breather coming up next because there are some bold souls in college football, and we will break it all down coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Stay tuned into 102.5 and 106.3 The Game tomorrow for Vanderbilt football. The Commodores will kick off at 6 p.m. on the road against UNLV with pregame beginning at 4:30 p.m. You can hear all the coverage on the 102.5 The Game app and at thegamenashville.com.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Fenton here for our friends over at Superbook Sports. Why bet with the big boys this football season? Instead, I think that you should try your hand with the local book, Superbook Sports, this fall. Superbook Sports is the book next door, just a dedicated team of the best odds makers in Las Vegas, making sure that you get the best prices and parlays anywhere. And now, Superbook will give you a bonus of up to $250 when you sign up and wager on the same day and use the promo code Caroline, my name, Caroline. So bet with the best and use promo code Caroline this football season with Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's back. The world's biggest spa sale at Family Leisure.
How do you know it's the world's biggest spa sale?
Well, it has to be. It is sponsored by Artesian, American Select, and Strong Spas. Those are some of the biggest brands, and it's at 12 Family Leisure locations across the country.
That is pretty big, but
there's more than 700 spas in stock and incoming at the Family Leisure stores, and many more display model spas at liquidation prices. Spa prices start as low as $39.99. It's the world's biggest spa sale at Family Leisure. Both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Where family and fun come together.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
See the latest from Viraggio, handcrafted on Fifth Avenue in New York by true artisans with unmatched attention to detail and the highest quality standards. Viraggio is the only ring that can be customized for every woman's specific desires. Come explore the entire Viraggio collection at Genesis.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Mom, we're out of potato chips.
Teenagers, they'll eat you out of house and home, kind of like health insurance, which can take a big bite out of the family budget. Fortunately, with Farm Bureau Health Plan's Core Choice coverage, we can save $3,600 a year compared to the leading competitor. And we've got better coverage with a lower premium, lower deductible, free telehealth visits, and access to one of the largest networks available.
Can we order pizza?
Visit FBHP.com or your local Farm Bureau office today.
It's time for another Kubota Field event hosted by Coleman Tractor of Nashville. Our biggest sales event of the year will take place on Thursday, September 21st at the Nashville Gun Club during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Shoot. Stop by our booth to learn all about Kubota. Zero-turn mowers, utility vehicles, and more. Take advantage of Kubota's competitive financing offers, receive a coupon for up to $250, plus enter to win prizes. Try it and buy it at Coleman Tractor of Nashville during the Shooting Hunger Sporting Clays Shoot at the Nashville Gun Club, Thursday, September 21st. The event kicks off at 7:30 a.m.
Nashville Sounds Baseball lives on 94.9 The Fan. Catch every pitch.
Swing and a miss, strike three.
Every hit.
That's a base hit.
Every run.
Looking up, it's gone.
On your home for Sounds Baseball. 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app.
Hey Nashville, this is Vanderbilt head coach Jerry Stackhouse. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Yes, sir. I'm minding my own business, watching some film, trying to get ready, trying to get out here and be the best coach I could be. And I look up and I read some bull junk that Dan said about us.
Talk to us.
Once again,
talk to us.
Why would you want to talk about us when we don't talk about nobody? All we do is go out here, work our butts off, and do our job on Saturday.
Yes,
but when they give us ammunition, they done messed around and made it what? It was just going to be a good game. They done messed around and made it personal. It was going to be a great test, a battle of Colorado, but they done messed around and made it personal.
It's personal. It is personal for Deion Sanders. It's personal. The bull junk is personal. So, at the beginning of all of this, when Deion kind of started this whole it's personal thing, I really, at the beginning, thought it was kind of corny. I was like, Deion, come on. Like, we don't need to make everything bulletin board material. Like, not everything is personal. I promise you that. Until I started to have to defend Deion Sanders because Coach Norvell at Colorado State, who they play, Colorado, by the way, and Colorado State, by the way, is a pretty bad program and not a very good team. Jay Norvell, the head coach of Colorado State, said this at his press conference.
Our kids are really, we had to do a bunch of ESPN videos, and it was great. I loved it. And But our kids came out of those videos really with a chip on their shoulder. They're tired of all that stuff. They really are tired of it. And I sat down with ESPN today, and I don't care if they hear it in Boulder. I told them I took my hat off and I took my glasses off, and I said, when I talk to grown-ups, I take my hat and my glasses off. That's what my mother taught me. So,
okay, a direct
you
shot
know,
at
they're
Deion
not going to like
Sanders.
us no matter what we say or do. It doesn't matter, okay?
A direct shot at Deion, who wears sunglasses and hats when he addresses the media. So I'm like, okay, all right, there is some bull junk being talked about you. And then Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon, who plays Colorado next week, was asked about, the impact of the Pac-12, of Colorado leaving for the Big 12. This is what Dan Lanning had to say.
Not a big reaction. I mean, I'm trying to remember what they won to affect this conference. I don't remember. You remember them winning anything? I don't remember them winning anything.
I mean,
it was honest.
Board material.
He was telling
Facts.
the truth. It was fact.
It is a fact.
But
I will say, yeah, go ahead, D-Mase.
No, I was going to say, I do think anytime these reporters are strategic in what they do. They are very strategic. There's no reason why Colorado name should have been brought up to Oregon. Oregon don't play them for another week. Oregon got a game before that. Colorado got to play Colorado State. This was done on purpose, okay? This was done because they know Coach Sanders in that program right now is a lightning rod. They're doing well. They're playing good football. They're braggadocious about it. They're not apologizing to anyone, but they're not going out of their way to attacking anyone either. They're just playing. They're just having fun. That whole school right now it's a big party in Boulder, Colorado right now. And people don't like it. And media people, as much as they sort of push this, they really don't like it either. It tells you they don't like it because they're trying to stir things up with coaches that are not even playing him this week. I forgot who Oregon
Lanning
has.
didn't have to answer it like that.
But you knew he was being honest. Like, listen, we're gone out of the Pac-12. They're going to be gone. Really, why are you asking me this question? Because neither one of us are going to be in the Pac-12 anymore.
That's what I'd understand.
Yeah, so why are you asking me this question? But if you want to get an answer, yes, what have they done? And he's speaking truthfully. Like, it could have been Deion or any other coach. What has that university done for this conference within the last 10 or 15 years? Nothing. What they're doing now, it's all going to be transferred to the Big 12 next year. Nobody's going to be talking about the Pac-12 or Pac-8, Pac-6, whatever it is. So Pac-2. I think they are doing this. These reporters are doing this on purpose. They're asking these questions because they know Coach Sanders is a lightning. His team is a lightning rod right now. Why? Because they are the hottest team right now in college football, meaning the most talked about. The hottest team is still Georgia, but the most talked about team right now is Colorado Buffaloes because of their head coach and how they're winning. Their quarterback is fantastic. They got a two-way player that's awesome. They got other players that are really, really good. And Coach Sanders is the perfect person for this job. And reporters know it, so they're going to go out of their way and ask these questions of these coaches that probably don't even play prime Coach Sanders until the end of the season. But they know they're going to get there.
Clarified. D-Mase, I'm sorry, I should have clarified. That Dan Lanning comment was made when Colorado left the Big 12 initially.
Oh,
when they were that. Yeah, I just.
So it didn't have anything again. It didn't have anything really to do about Coach Sanders. It was just, hey, Colorado,
but
they're leaving.
Deion will be using that quote
at Colorado
next week.
Exactly, Deion will be using that quote. Yeah,
and Deion has done a very good job of using all of this to bring attention to his program and put a little chip on his players' shoulders. Mm-hmm. And look, that's a real thing. That's a time-tested thing, is put a chip on somebody's shoulder, you're going to get an edge. And so I think it is fascinating how his opponents, Colorado's opponents, will approach it week to week. There's two ways to go. Mm-hmm. You can incite it, which Norvell did, and to me that's not smart when you're the underdog. No. When you're not supposed to win anyway, you want the sneak attack. Mm-hmm. You want to ambush them. You want them to overlook you. Now, there's not much chance of that happening, right? Everybody's going to be wearing sunglasses. It's going to be
hat.
a hornet's nest, and you better bring it. But sometimes coaches think that that's the best way to go. Meet it head on. A lot of other coaches are saying, let them do the talking. We're not going to do any talking, and let's let our play do the talking.
I think what he's trying to do, and I'm not, listen, it might not be the best tactic in the world. Because if you listen to Coach, he talks about his players going into these interviews and then coming out of these interviews like, why am I even doing these interviews? Because it's nothing about our team. It's everything about that team and how good they are and all this. So his team's coming out of these interviews and they're a little frustrated. They're like, man, what's the deal here? I understand they're good, but you act like we just chopped liver. So the head coach goes in there. He's defending his team.
Right.
So he wants to now get everything off of his team and point it more so toward himself. Again, I don't think that was the right tactic to do, but I understand considering what he said prior to saying, hey, I took my sunglasses and my hat off. We got to pay attention to the whole answer, not just one part. He said his players felt a certain way after coming out of those interviews with the national media. So he had to go in there and sort of be the front line for them, defend them, tell them, like, listen, they're human just like we're human. So I'm going to stir this thing up a little bit. Because he didn't have to repeat what he said. But he repeated what he said because he wanted to take the heat off of his guys and put it on himself. Again, was that the smartest thing to do? Probably not. But he did it. We've seen coaches do things throughout college football and pro. This is not the first time it's going to happen, and it's not going to be the last time it's going to happen.
What do we always say when coaches are at the podium? They're not talking to us.
No.
They're talking to the team.
Mm-hmm.
So and everyone is saying, what is Coach Norvell doing? Oh my goodness, they're going to use that as bulletin board material in bold. He knows that. I think it was a message to the team of, look, I will come for the coach in Boulder. I will come for Deion Sanders, even though I know that he's going to use that against me, because I want my team to know that we can come for that team and we can walk into that game just like I came for Deion Sanders at the podium. That we are not scared. We know you're going to hear this, but we're not scared. Now, is Colorado going to get, kicked in the mouth? Or, excuse me, Colorado State going to get kicked in the mouth by Colorado? 100%. Absolutely. Yes, they are. But if the coach can give them a little bit of motivation amongst a national narrative that this Colorado team is unstoppable, and honestly, they've looked pretty darn close to it, then at least motivate your team a little bit. And honestly, I'll say it. I wish we had more smack talk in sports. Like Jamar Chase calling the Browns a bunch of elves. I like it. As long as you can wear it and eat it at the end if you don't win. As long as you are okay of basically being made a mockery of at the end of it if you come out less than victorious on the other side. Like, there are so many coaches in the past who used to do that. I was listening to Robbie and Rexer this morning, and they talked about Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier was the ultimate trash talker. He always said, you can't spell citrus without UT.
But Spurrier,
I don't
Spurrier
think that he
did
was
it.
Scared.
He did it
I
in a
don't think
way.
he was scared to lose to Tennessee.
No, he wasn't. But I think Spurrier did it in a way where it was funny, and because he had a good sense of humor. It seemed like great attitude about it, and when he said it, it was
good
right.
Digs.
But it
good digs,
hit
he knew
you,
how to do it,
and he would smile while he was saying it, but he would hit you. But all of these coaches, every coach that wears a ball cap and a whistle, they don't wear whistles no more, but I'm just saying, wear a whistle, say things like this. It doesn't get out 99.9% of the time, but it is said. Stuff in the locker room that is said about coaches, about the other coaches or the other team. I've heard a lot of it, believe me. I probably said a lot of it too, and we as players. But Coach Norvell, he's not saying anything different than what a lot of coaches are saying, but they're just saying it to their guys. They're not saying it publicly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a little bit of smack talk, I think it's fine. I think it's fun. I think it's innocent, as long as you can deal with the backlash if you lose. And as long at the end of the day, at the end of the game, there's mutual respect there, coach to coach, team to team, player to player. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but it is some bull junk, and Deion will be using it as some bulletin board material, as he should. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's take it to the bank coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
He knows Nashville sports.
I love Clark Lee. He is a brilliant dude.
And he's not scared to tell it like it is.
They were atrocious on defense a year ago.
He is Outkick's Chad Withrow.
We really don't care. You're here. You signed a grant of rights.
Withrow joins Stillman and Company every Friday at 5. Brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
I know they were doing that for him to be the third-string quarterback in year one.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Friday, men. I need you to listen up. Open up your ears wide, clean them out, because I need to tell you about Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you require to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Man, what are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. I know you're looking at yourself like, what's the number? What's the number? You're panicking because I know you want to get to it. Here it is, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
The two most sought-after, most prestigious names in bridal jewelry come together for one epic event next weekend at Genesis Diamonds.
Tacori and Viraggio, the world's premier designers, will be showing off their entire collections. All the latest designs, many showcased for the first time ever, with up to $5,000 in savings.
Everyone loves Tacori, meticulously crafted by master artisans in their California design studio. Discover the hidden details and exceptional quality that sets Tacori apart. There's always more than meets the eye with Tacori. Come explore the entire Tacori collection, including all new Tacori fine jewelry, earrings, bracelets, eternity bands, pendants, and more.
If you're engagement ring shopping, this is a once-a-year event you can't miss. Other jewelers aren't even allowed to carry these iconic American-made brands.
Also for this event, Genesis is showcasing an expanded selection of GIA-certified diamonds in all shapes and sizes.
Next weekend, September 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Take advantage of special incentives, zero-interest financing, and as much as $5,000 in savings. Only at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey, Tennessee, when you bet on Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town, you get the best reward possible. Cold, hard cash. You bet with your own money, so why accept anything less from your rewards program? With Zen Sports, you earn cash on your bets, cash on your referrals bets, and a welcome bonus in, you guessed it, cash. So stop settling for Vegas rewards when we're in Tennessee. Cash in your old sportsbook for Zen Sports. Your wallet will thank you later. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Oh, Charlie's, that's where you'll find me. That southern flavor got me saying, hey, y'all. And ooh, that gooey caramel pie tastes like summertime at Old Charlie's.
The sweet, sweet sounds of this song are in honor of the sweet, sweet news that Free Pie Wednesdays are back at O'Charlie's. O'Charlie's. Oh, that's good.
Yum, yum, have some fun. O'Charlie's, born in Nashville, and it shows.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top three quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Comes the money.
And you can take that to the bank.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
It is time to take it to the bank with F&M Bank. F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. Less worry, more living. F&M Bank. Visit one of their 20 locations throughout Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky or online at myfmbank.com. So before we take it to the bank this week, Nick, a quick recap of how we did taking it to the bank last week.
Yeah, make it really quick.
I sure will.
I didn't do well.
Yeah, it's all right. It's still the month of Willy.
Yeah.
Caroline picked Quentin Ewers over 250 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. That happened. Ole
Let's
Miss's
go.
Quinshawn Junkins to have 100 rushing yards. He did not get that.
He did not do that.
No, it
I
was-
think he has 100 on the season.
Correct. He had 48 in the game. So
Cool.
for the difficulty, I'm gonna give it an 8. Willie had D-Hop to score. We'll get back to that. But did not. D-Mase had
13 targets, no touchdowns.
D-Mase
I should have gone
had
with the targets.
Tajay Spears with an anytime receiving touchdown and 50 yards rushing. Neither of those two things happened. It was close.
It was close.
I texted you about it. It was close.
Opportunities were there.
Yes.
Yep. And then I picked Mississippi State to win. So
Caroline. So what? You're giving Caroline 8.
I'm giving her an 8.
I think that's a fair score.
And then for you, Willie, I'm going to give you about a 4, if that's valid.
I'll take 4. That's
4.
charity. I don't think I should even get 4.
Oh, wow.
3. Let's go with a 3. And then D-Mace, I chose 4 due to the fact that it was a two.
It was close. Yeah, he was close.
And I'm being harsh on myself. I'm giving myself a 4. Just split right down the middle.
Well, Caroline's in the lead, huh?
I think Caroline is.
Yeah, Caroline is in
very
the lead.
much in the lead.
Yeah.
Yes. Caroline, would you like to start us off?
They call me the D-Mase of silly underdog picks, but I'm taking it to the bank.
So
All
what
right,
we got
I will
now?
start us off. I have 2, but I'll start with 1. We'll go around the room, and then I can come back to me. My first one, I will take it to college football, and I'm taking it to the Swamp. I'm going to say the Vols have at least 2.5 sacks at Florida on Saturday. At least 2.5.
Whoa. 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
offensive line is that's some trash.
So you really think
That's
it's
some
going
bull- that's some bull junk.
Bull
that
junk,
Florida
there
has
you
on the offensive line.
So you think this game's going to be won in the trenches for sure?
I think most games are, but it's a couple things. It's the Florida offensive line really did look rough in the first couple of games, and also Tennessee's defensive line has looked so much better than I ever expected it to look this early in the season. And Tennessee leads the SEC in sacks. And there's a stat being thrown around that Tennessee has more sacks than South Carolina, Alabama, and LSU combined. Take that with a grain of salt, considering that South Carolina, Alabama, and LSU have all played better opponents than Tennessee have. But still, I think it's still a testament to the evolution of this Tennessee defensive line. So I think they're going to have themselves a heyday.
All right.
After this Florida offensive line. Go ahead, D-Mase.
For me, it's a 3-parter, but I'm going to the Swamp as well. And I got to show some faith in Milton. So I'm going to say at least 250 passing, at least 2 touchdowns, and complete over 60% of his passes.
Okay, we have a lot of math. Nick,
Yeah.
are you prepared for that much math in the take it to the bank? I guess
I'm
we're
writing
talking
it
about
down.
money here.
Yeah. Well, I'm writing it down. I know Derek's trying to get that high number.
Make sure you bring your calculator.
Yeah.
Hey, they call me Dr. Crane for a reason on the other shows. I mean, there are reasons.
So I got a
behind it.
3-parter right there.
There you go.
I'm hoping to hit all 3. I got to go big. I got to go big or don't go at all.
Okay, I'm splitting mine. I'm gonna go. I've been going all or nothing the last 2 weeks. I feel like I'm gonna hedge a little more. I'm going 2 chances, not 3 parts, but I'm going 2 parts. Part 1, I will say that Derrick Henry will continue his trend. I think I saw this going even back to last year. Remember, he didn't play against the Cowboys, but he's got, I think, a string of 5 straight games where he's had at least 100 yards from scrimmage. When you add, the screen game, he has really come on in that. I mean, he's not going to be not. We've talked about him not being on the field on 3rd down. I don't think that's going to change, but they have done a very good job of knowing when to use him as a receiver on 1st and 2nd down. So I think he will continue that. 100 yards from scrimmage for Derrick Henry on Sunday.
Okay.
The other one I'm going to make the bold call on here is Jaguars straight up to beat the Chiefs in their home opener. They will win against the defending champions, and the Chiefs will be 0-2.
They got some injuries, the Jaguars.
I know.
They got some injuries along their front, offensive line, meaning. So, Man.
Jags to win, really.
Jags
to win.
Kansas City gets Chris Jones back,
Yep.
and Kelsey is playing.
Yep.
So that's a
Jags.
big one.
Give me the
Straight
Jags.
up.
Straight up.
Hey.
Jacksonville Willie.
I was going to say Jaguar
Willie.
running off on him. I don't know.
It's just a whole bunch of Duval happening.
Exactly.
That's too funny. Well, as for me, I made a little side bet with Caroline on Monday because, I'm a Mississippi State fan.
Right.
And, she's an LSU fan. They're going up against each other this weekend. 11 a.m. kickoff. Mississippi State is going to beat LSU. That is one of my part 2 of this. And then Will Rogers to throw for 3 touchdowns.
Ooh.
Air raid is coming back.
High degree of
Yes, to throw for 3 touchdowns.
To throw for 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That is one of my theories, honestly, is because Mississippi State, even though they kind of struggled against Arizona, they were down and it went to overtime. They still committed to the run. So I thought, what kind of sneaky moves does Zach Arnett have up his sleeve? Like, is he saving the air raid film until after SEC play? I wouldn't be surprised.
You're reading my mind,
be.
Caroline. That's where I'm headed.
Or I'm hoping that he's not that smart and simply they're just going to run the ball and LSU wins by 3 touchdowns. That's my hope.
Okay.
That's my heart, not my head.
Well, if that does happen, I'm just going to bring a cowbell on Monday. You just have to ring it every time you walk through the door. How's that sound?
I refuse. I will not ring that gaudy bell.
So who we got winning the game this weekend? Titans, Chargers. Who you got, Willie?
I think it's going to be super close. I like the points for the Titans. They've got to find a way to get it done. I'll take them. I think they're going to find a way.
Caroline, I am taking the Titans to win a close game. I think Ryan Tannehill bounces back. I think they play better. I got them winning by a field goal.
I really want to buy into the Vrabel mentality, the underdog mentality, but I think that the Titans are going to force the Chargers to play their kind of game, but the Chargers come away with it in the end. So I'm going to say it's fairly low scoring. I'll say Chargers 17, Titans 10.
Well, I got Titans 17. Well, yeah, Titans 17, Chargers. Again, it's going to be a low-scoring game, 17-16.
You really think they could ugly it up that much?
Yes, I think they can. I think they can. That's their only chance at winning.
That is their only chance at winning. But that's going to do it for us today. We'll be back Monday morning on a Titans Reaction Monday. Stillman and Company is up next.
Be love and love on your people this weekend. Peace.